I will die on that hill, even if it's not a worthy hill to die on. I'm dying on the hill that Prime Phil would take Prime Scottie.
And first off, let's just say it now. What a win for Matt Fitzpatrick. He's going against the boogeyman, Scottie Scheffler. Everyone, CBS broadcast is going for Scottie Scheffler. The fans are going for Scottie Scheffler. Guess who pulls out the victory? Matt Fitzpatrick becoming the first two-time international player to win the RBC Heritage. So shout out to the homie Matt Fitzpatrick. Also, I remember after the Masters was over, everyone was like, man, we got to wait about 4 or 5 weeks to the next major. Wrong. We got the Chevron Championship coming up, which is the Masters for the LPGA, man. So we're super excited. We got some fun guests on today. So, guys, please lock in. Please like and subscribe. But if you're new here or you're coming back here, I'm Jeremy Davis, former NFL player and host of the best YouTube golf show, Golf and Gospel. And who I have with me? My co-host, my dog, the best PT in the Southwest, former Nebraska Cornhusker golfer, Nate Wong. And, guys, as I said before, we're on all podcast outlets now. We're on Apple, we're on Amazon, we're on whatever you get your podcast from. Look up Golf and Gospel Podcast and lock in with us, rate us, do all the good things. If you don't like us, as I've said before, critique us, let us know what we're doing wrong. If we're doing great, uplift us, encourage us, man, because me and Nate, we're coming back every week with some golf news as the most underrated golf podcast out there. Nate, I want to kind of start off with the RBC Heritage, man. Just kind of seeing what you saw in those final rounds and stuff like that, man, because as I already alluded to, everybody was rooting against Matt Fitzpatrick. It felt like the Ryder Cup at Bethpage. I'm just like, what's
the Ryder Cup, dude?
Yeah.
USA chants and everything.
Yeah.
Dude, first off, gotta shout out Siwoo, had a good run. Shout out Gary Woodland with that eagle on 18 was pretty sick. That was like 200 plus yards.
Against the wind.
Into the wind.
Yes.
That was pretty sick. And it bumped him a lot in the leaderboard. But,
yes.
Dude, just when everything was looking Scottie's way, right? 17, he birdied 17. He makes that nice putt. And then Fitzpatrick bogeys 18. And he bogeyed 16 as well. He bogeyed kind of later down the stretch.
I think he parred out and only bogeyed 18. But they said he hadn't had a bogey in 21 holes. So it was crazy, the timing of it. Yeah, bro.
Yeah. And sorry, what I was thinking was he had that wayward drive on 17 as well. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what I was thinking of. But it just felt like the momentum was shifting, you know. But the good thing is like it's not a team sport. You can control the momentum. You're absolutely in control. And Matt Fitzpatrick did that on 18. He hit an awesome approach. It felt like the momentum shifted back to Matt Fitzpatrick on that playoff hole, you know?
The thing that was crazy, both of them finished with a one-hand finish, except obviously Scottie leaked right, had the chip on, and Matt pured his.
Cleared.
And he had cleared it very, very nicely, bro. It was it was so crazy, bro. And then, like I said, I love Scottie, bro. And we were texting about this. I'm not rooting against Scottie, but and it's not Scottie's fault, but like the bias towards him. Like, I remember when I was watching the Super Bowl, and I believe it was when the Eagles was playing the Patriots, and I think it was Chris Collinsworth was like rooting on Brady to like beat the Eagles. I'm like, you're supposed to have an unbiased opinion as a broadcaster. I mean, maybe internally you can root for who you want, but like to showcase that out, I'm just like, come on, man, that's messed up. So the CBS doing that for Sky, I'm just like, dog, like, what Matt Fitzpatrick do y'all? The fans are who they are. Home field advantage here in America, Scottie does what we do. When I saw the CBS broadcast, I'm just like, it's crazy how bad y'all want Scottie to win. Like, just have an unbiased opinion. Scottie wins, you congratulate Scottie. Matt wins, congratulate Matt. Which they did congratulate Matt, but you could just kind of see where they were hoping for. Because I still think they want them to fulfill this Tiger-esque, notion that Scottie was on his way to maybe clearing some of Tiger's records. Yes.
Dude, this is the thing. The Scottie is the next one. Like, he already is the next one.
Yes, for sure.
I think, like, they want to, for the headlines, really, the more he wins, the more of a headline it's going to make,
for sure.
The headline it is. Definitely were encouraging. Yeah, I mean, it was subtle, but like when Matt hit a bad shot, they're like, oh, whereas when, and they're like, ooh, Matt kind of starting to sink now. And then when Scottie hits a good shot, they're like, oh, Scottie's got a chance. Scotty's
Bro,
gonna do it.
every time Scotty birdies, here comes Scotty. I'm just like, bro,
Yes,
he's
yes.
every time, dog. I'm
Yeah,
just
it's like the
like, bro.
best birdie they've ever seen.
Yeah,
But
bro.
it did make it interesting good. Because he was coming from behind, but
Yeah,
it's
back 4-3 strokes starting the round off, I think.
But dude, I do think the media, like the broadcast companies, particularly, do like the little Scotty narrative.
They do, they do. But again, man, shout out to Matt Fitzpatrick becoming the first international player to win the RBC Heritage 2 times, man. And he's the second player this year to have multiple wins with the homie Chris Gotterup. But Nate, I got a fun little segment for us, man. Something that might make us debate, something that might get the fans stirred up, man. So here's my first question I have for you. And I know that you love, you're a little biased toward the left-handed golfer, specifically Phil Mickelson. But question I have for you, man, who wins in the playoff in their prime, Phil or Scottie Scheffler?
Dude, I think Phil. Because how long has Scotty's been number one for like 100 or something weeks?
Yeah.
And who's number two? I mean, I guess number two is Rory, but like Rory's not showing up consistently
Every week, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even show up literally every week, but when he shows up, he doesn't show up every week. You know what I'm saying?
Great take.
So, whereas when Phil went against Tiger, Phil showed up every week. He had to.
Mm-hmm.
He had to if he wanted to have a chance to take down Tiger.
Right.
And there was like a stat. It was like Phil's number of weeks at world number 2 is like 240.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
Which is for freaking ever,
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm also a little biased because I mean, Phil's moments were big. He was a bigger personality when he won.
Yeah.
We talked about that too. It's like when Scotty wins, it's like, yep, good, thank you. I knew I was going to make that putt. Whereas when Phil won the Masters, he jumped. And I remember in like the Golf Digest magazines, they'd be like, dude, Phil's footprints after that jump are still on that green.
Yeah.
And Phil also hit like crazy shots. Like he hit shots that they were just stuck there. And then people would be like, is there a piece of gum on his golf ball?
Yeah.
Even in LIV right now, when he hit it over
his head,
over his head. Yeah,
that was sick. Yeah.
So there's definitely more of a flash, and that's probably why I like Phil a little bit more.
Yeah.
He's lefty.
Yeah.
But I will die on that hill, even if it's not a worthy hill to die on. I'm dying on the hill that prime Phil would take prime Scotty. What do you think, though?
I think I'm gonna go with the same thing. Unfortunately, he just had to face Tiger all the time. But what separates them two is just the magic, the short game that Phil has. I don't really necessarily, just through my history of looking up Phil and stuff, don't really think he ever had like a lapse in his short game. Like Scotty went through that little lapse where he couldn't really putt, and Scotty kept finishing top 5, and in Scotty's prime. And Phil, I didn't see that
last year.
Yeah, last 2 years ago. Yeah, so I haven't really seen, or historically when I look up stuff, seeing that Phil had a lapse in his prime. He just couldn't beat arguably one of the best 1 or 2 golfers in all of golf between him and Jack. But that's debatable as well. But depending on who you ask, but I'm gonna have to say Phil too. But I'm not saying it by a long shot. Obviously, Scotty's gonna go down as one of the greats.
Yeah.
He's about to get his 21st win at some point this year, I believe, if he stops getting seconds. But Scotty's obviously one of the greatest to play. But I think prime Phil would get prime Scotty.
Dude, the magic too with a short game.
Yes.
You're absolutely right. Yeah,
absolutely, bro. Next question I got, man. Has LIV Golf actually made its players worst in majors?
Dude, I like that people are posting. It's like, look what LIV did to Justin Thomas. Look what LIV did to Tony Finau. You're one of your, and it's great, dude. Finau in 2023 was a top 10 golfer.
Good. Yes.
And I don't even know if he's in the top 60 right now.
No, because he wasn't even. He had to win to make it to the Masters. He wasn't even close. Like, hopefully you would think like Finau can get top 10 and sneak into the top 50 and get the Masters, but like he had to actually win. And yeah, Finau does not look good at all.
It didn't play in St. Jude last year, so.
Good point there too.
And other thing, Max Homa, like since the inception of LIV, I think he did okay in 2024. I think that was the year he did well at the Masters and kind of did okay. And then last year was a big lull. And then this year, has been a big lull, except
It
for the
has,
Masters.
except the Masters. He only plays good in the
Yeah,
Masters.
yeah, all 3 years except for the Masters, he does well. But I think you said it previously, but it's like golf is just hard, and people just have ups and downs. You
Yes,
know, you were talking about how Scotty was having this lapse in putting. He's the best player in the world right now. You know,
100%, 100%, not question.
And third best between Tiger, Phil, and Scotty. You know,
Yeah. Oh,
but like even Scotty had lulls. It was just, even though it was just one part of his game, but like players just have lulls, whether it's one part, two parts of their games, and it really can take a toll because the other guys on tour are really good players. So if you have
yes,
a little
yes,
drop off in your game, you don't drop from third to seventh. You drop from third to 40th.
yes,
So,
yes. Great point.
so yeah, I don't know if Liv makes people worse. I'm sure there's some like contribution to the decrements in performance that we see, but I don't. These guys, they're going to be good if they want to be good, and they're going to be bad because golf is just
It's
like
hard.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great point, man. Here's my dissertation on why LIV does not make a player worse. Because we only like to talk about this when it comes to majors, which I think is a good factor to imply, or a good factor to look into and say, like, okay, this can tell us if you got worse or if you gotten better, because now you got everybody in the same field. But I want to look at the context of this. So LIV typically has about 8 to 12 players in the field in every single major, which are 4 majors, obviously, on the PGA Tour, or they're not PGA Tour events, but you get what I'm saying. And that's roughly 7% of the field at the U.S. Open, the Open, and the PGA Championship. With the Masters, regularly about 90 to 100 players, so that's about 10%. So you got either anywhere from 7% to 10% of the LIV players in the field. So it's a very, very small portion. But let's look at the results and see what things that are objective are saying about LIV players when they come and play in majors. Look at the Masters results. In 2023, you had 3 people in the top 5. Phil Mickelson, Brooks Koepka, Patrick Reed. 2024, you had 3 in the top 10 with Cam Smith, which is a shocker, Bryson DeChambeau, and Tyrell Hatton. 2025, you had 2 in the top 5, and Bryson and Patrick Reed. And in 2026, you had the lone person in the top 5 and Tyrell Hatton. So think about that small percentages that I just said, and all those guys are top 5 or top 10. Go ahead, please.
But the thing is, you could see the number is going down. Though
That's true. That's true. It is going down. However, this has been a narrative since it first started. The narrative hasn't changed. You know what I'm saying? If this narrative came up today, you can say, look how they, digressed. But they made their narrative in 2023. So that's all I'm trying to say as well. But you do have a point. But I do want to move over to the PGA Championship 2023. Brooks Koepka won. Bryson got T4, Cam Smith T9, 3 people in the top 10. 2024, Bryson had a solo second, and then we had 1 person in the top 10. 2025, you had 3 in the top 10 with Joaquin Neiman, John Rahm, Bryson DeChambeau. 2026, still to be determined. U.S. Open 2023, 2 in the top 10, Cam Smith, Dustin Johnson. 2024, Bryson won the U.S. Open. 2025, he had 2 in the top 5, Hatton, Carlos Ortiz, and then John Rahm got a T7. In 2026, to be determined. And we got the Open Championship, which I think that's their worst performance as a group. However, 7 to 10% people, it's like that's not a lot. 2023, you had 0 in the top 10. Your best finish was Hatton T20. Not a good showing. But 2024, you had 1 in the top 10 with John Rahm. 2025, you had 1 in the top 10 with Bryson DeChambeau. So you got 2 players out of 7 to 10% of the people that join the field that have won majors in Koepka and Bryson DeChambeau, and they're regularly contending despite having a smaller percentage in the field. So saying that they've fallen off is subjective, but the numbers and what they've done overall has shown that they haven't fallen off. Now, can they be on a way to digressing? Maybe. That's still to be determined because we still have 3 more majors. But I think we've put a lot of emphasis on what happened in the Masters because the face of LIV, Bryson, obviously missed the cut. And you really only had Tyrell Hatton, who was really the only person in contention. Dustin Johnson made the cut. Sergio Garcia, which a lot of us are mad at him right now. There are LIV players that made cuts and finished in like top 25, top 30. But in terms of contending, we haven't seen that. So I don't think that LIV is making them worse. I think, as you alluded to in the beginning, and that's kind of always been my argument, golf is just hard and people regress. Unfortunately, we see guys like Jordan Spieth, Max Homa, Tony Finau. Justin Thomas.
Spieth. I didn't even say Spieth. Yeah.
Yes, have all digressed, but we have said nothing in regards to LIV. So golf is just hard. The only exception, my bad, and lastly, the only exception I think
Yeah,
who
go for
needs to be studied is Cam Smith. That's the only guy who needs to be studied. Yes.
I think you can also make the point. It's like, who was Tyrell Hatton and Carlos Ortiz before LIV? Because I don't know. I never heard of those guys. Or I don't say I never heard of them, but like,
Yeah.
I heard of Tyrell, but
Carlos Ortiz, I have not.
No.
Me neither.
Carlos Ortiz, I did not.
I did not.
But
I knew him because
Tyrell,
I was watching LIV heavily. Yeah, go ahead.
But Tyrell was, I mean, I don't think he was contending in majors before LIV, was he? And
not that I really saw. Yeah,
and arguably, LIV made him better. Like, he might have needed to be like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Arguably, LIV made Carlos Ortiz better because the team aspect. Like, you get better when you practice and you compete against other people, because then your practice is more like how you play.
Yeah.
You know, whereas these tour guys are just doing their own thing. These LIV guys might be, I don't know. I'm sure tour guys practice with each other, but these LIV guys,
I think they do, because I remember the video with Phil and Michael Lasasso and all those guys practicing together and stuff like that, like short game.
Yeah, for LIV, it's more like organized, like you have chances to practice with each other. Whereas PGA Tour, it's a lot less organized and a lot less chances to hit people up. I'm sure a lot of these guys belong to the same club, but their schedule is their own thing. Whereas if you're a part of the team kind of puts together your schedule a little bit, and then you can deviate and do whatever you want outside of that.
Yes.
Arguably, LIV made these guys better.
Possibly. But we do want to say this, guys. Me and Nate are not anti-LIV, anti-PGA. We just watch golf. There are some things about LIV we don't like, as well as there's things about the PGA we don't like. And also on the contrary, there's some things we love about the PGA. There's some things we like about LIV. However, the narrative that LIV makes of golf worse, I think we just need to stop saying that until like the numbers and stuff actually show it. Yeah.
You can't blanket statement that. Like, maybe a few guys, but like Patrick Reed is playing his best golf ever, and he just came off of LIV. It's not like you can just be off and you're better. It's
yes. Same thing with Brooks. And
Brooks is playing some of his best golf in the last couple of years, you know.
And he won a major when he was on LIV too. Gotta understand it. He won a PGA Championship when he was on LIV. Yeah.
Like, there are weird, like DJ, dude, was just fresh off being world number one, and where'd he go? Granted, he was kind of declining before. I think, you know.
Yeah, a little bit.
And Cam Smith, where'd he go? So it's not, you can't blanket statement LIV makes golfers worse or makes more golfers worse. There's a case by case basis, because Ortiz and Hatton made probably better.
Great take. Next question I have for us, man. Which one would you rather attend for the rest of your life? And I want you to listen up here. A is the Masters, the AIG Women's Open, LIV Adelaide, PGA Championship, the Memorial Tournament, and the President's Cup. Or B, the U.S. Open, Chevron Championship, LIV South Africa, the Open, the Players, and the Ryder Cup. Which two? And if you want me to say them again, I definitely can.
Dude, this is the thing. I have such a high regard for the Masters that it doesn't even matter what you said after that. Granted. No
Ryder Cup, though.
Dude, I know. When you said the President's Cup, and then the next one you said Ryder Cup, I'd be like, oh,
I had to find something. I tried to find something to give you some strain, because everyone's going to try to be with the Masters for sure.
Yeah. The thing is like, I think the Masters, the next golf major that competes with it would be the Open. If I can go to the Open, that'd be cool, especially if it's at St. Andrews, the old course. But I would probably pick. This is the thing. When the Masters was on, I was talking to people. I would rather go to the Masters general admission than get club seats for the Super Bowl. Like,
oh wow.
Even if my favorite band, I mean, the only stipulation is like, if my favorite band is playing the halftime show, I'd be like, all right, well, you know, I'd probably still pick the Masters though. But that's how much I love the Masters. So it's why it's like, as soon as you said everything else, it's like, I would love to go to the Ryder Cup though, and I would love to go to the Open. But the Masters takes the cake. What about you?
That's a good one. I struggle with this, and because I mean I wanted to put some strain on the Masters. That's why I put the Players and the Ryder Cup in the same category. And this might seem kind of weak, but it's like I want to be able to have my phone out and have memories of being at these places. The Masters I'm only going to have up here, even though it'll be an amazing thing to go to. And that's probably such a minuscule thing when people listen, like, is that it's not a heavy reason, but like, I love looking back, like, I love going to a Kendrick or J. Cole concert. I love looking back at those, like, man, this moment was so cool.
Yeah.
But the Masters, I literally just going to have thoughts in my head and like no true pictures or anything like that and stuff. But I mean, I feel like the Chevron would be dope to go to, man. The U.S. Open.
I don't know. The Chevron's like I would stay late because I want to see them jump in the.
Yeah.
Lake,
Well, I don't know if it's gonna be different now because it's at Houston. So very curious on if there is a lake to jump in there.
I was gonna say, is there a lake? There's got to be water on that course.
I'm sure our guests who are coming on soon will let us know for sure. But oh man, I think I'm gonna say B because I would love to go to the Players. The Ryder Cup, bro, would be awesome.
The Ryder Cup would be nuts. Though.
Yeah, it would be so crazy, bro. And
the no phones is a good and bad because like phones do help with your recollection.
It all depends on like how you carry that out. Because some people are like, man, phones are such a distraction that people are like, man, let's just enjoy the moment and be present, which I get. But if I have a heart like, man, I just want to take a few videos and stuff. It's like I want to be able to take videos of A-Man's Corner. You know, I want to be able to take pictures of hole 18, like, and have those in my phone and be like, man, I was there, as opposed to just the memory. But we would love to know your thoughts in the comments right now. Which one between A and B would you rather go to? Again, A is the Masters, the AIG Women's Open, LIV Adelaide, PGA Championship, the Memorial, and the President's Cup, or B, the U.S. Open, the Chevron Championship, LIV South Africa, the Open, the Players, and the Ryder Cup. Now, the last thing I kind of have for us in regards to this is we saw Bryson DeChambeau withdraw from the LIV tournament right now. Do you think his reason for withdrawing, which he said was a wrist injury, is legit? Or do you think that everything's just kind of spilling over from everything that happened at the Masters?
It's tough because I don't really want to speculate.
We're speculating here for sure. We could be totally wrong.
This is, I don't want to cause any rumors because everybody listens to our stuff first.
There we go.
I'm inclined to say that it's his wrist, but I just don't know if he's like, I need more time with my 3D printed clubs, stuff like that. So yeah. There was a lot of contention. There were a lot of discussions about Bryson at the Masters and his poor performance out of the bunkers and
still having a poor performance even at LIV Mexico City. When he got out of the bunker, he sent it over the green. Then he had that bad lie in that rough, and he started. Then he started complaining about that, and I'm like, man, you're getting mad at everything but the bunker shot that led you over there. And I don't know if he was just so. I don't know if he was just so frustrated by everything that's going on, and because there are a lot of like world championships and stuff that happen at that resort, but I don't know if he just got frustrated and everything from Masters are kind of spilling over. He just like, man, I need time to digress. I'm gonna withdraw. But again, I can be so wrong. His wrist can actually be hurting because I've said this in previous podcasts before. As a former professional athlete, when we used to see rumors being talked about outside the locker room, we go like, bro, that is not even close to being remotely true. But that's why right now, me and Nate are saying we're just speculating, and we can be wrong for sure. But kind of just seeing how his attitude and his personality was very sarcastic there. Like if he didn't want it was just really weird. I'm just like, Bryson, man, you've done so much for the sport. And again, I guess he is entitled to have like, emotions and stuff and be upset. But it just almost seemed like old Bryson before this new Bryson. And I think a lot of people did not really like that. So then when he withdrew, it's like, we think this is a cop-out. But can be wrong. Can be his wrist. Hopefully he comes back for LIV Virginia and he gets back to the back-to-back wins he had, and hopefully he makes a run at the PGA Championship. My thoughts here. Again, if you're here, please like, subscribe, share, rate us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to your podcast, YouTube. Please rate us. All the good things, man. Next thing I want to talk about here, man, Ryder Cup update. Photos have surfaced of European Ryder Cup captain Luke Donald already scouting the course in Ireland, while the U.S. still hasn't even announced its captain. Nate, what do you make of this?
I don't know. I mean, they have to get the course done. Thing is, I think scouting out the course right now is quite early.
Super.
Where do you go? Are we gonna try to build a tee box before? Like I feel like that's why you would scout it now, is because it's like we're gonna actually make renovations and stuff. Maybe I'm probably starting a rumor here. Maybe he's just scouting out the course so he can get a little more familiar with it. He might be scouting out for like logistics, like we're gonna stay here, we're gonna practice here. That might be probably what he's doing. But I like, dude, we got over a year and a half. I think like that's enough time to literally put a renovation on the course. We can make a green
if they
bigger.
wanted to.
We can add a bunker. We can add a bunker. We could take away a bunker, add a water hazard.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's in their plan.
It can be possible. My issue is, man, I feel like the U.S. is so unserious because we haven't announced the captain. And the guy that just won the PGA Championship Tour today, Stuart Sink, they need to go ahead and make him the captain, man. I don't know what we're waiting for right now. I really don't. I don't know why we're dragging this on. I don't know if because it's a President's Cup year that they rather just, not touch Ryder Cup until that happens. It's like, what are we seriously doing right now? And I've already made my spiel. I've already advocated for the guy. But it should be Stuart Sink, man, a guy who's still winning at a high level, who knows how to win, who's been a vice captain before, has played really well as a PGA Tour player. It's time to get serious and make Stuart
PGA of America
the captain.
Gotta
what are we doing, man? But, again, you guys in the comments, you let me know. It's just super frustrating that the European team's getting this full head start, and we're just sitting back waiting. There we
Wait, let me put
go.
my little...
Yeah, please do.
Did it turn? Is it the right way?
It said you're in portrait mode. Are you on your phone? She's the homie.
All right, what about now? Still bad?
We're going to take it. It's fine.
Oh my gosh,
everyone,
are you sure?
Yeah, everyone loves you, man. No one's going to care about how this looks, man.
Big old fat legs. I'm going to hold it.
Legs are fine.
No athlete legs anymore. Got more legs now.
Welcome our special guest, man, good friend of mine. She had 22 top 25 finish. No, this ain't live, man. It's recorded, but I'm still going to intro you. I might leave that in for the sarcasm of it, though. But she had 22 top 25s on the LPGA Tour, 10 top 10s, and she has the best personality I've ever had on Golf and Gospel. And she's a Gospel Golf's winner. And she was inducted in the Kentucky Hall of Fame in 2025. My dog, Emma Talley, here to break down everything with the Chevron Championship, which is, again, like the Masters for the LPGA. First off, Emma, this is my homie Nate. Played college golf in Nebraska. He's a stick. He won't say he is, but I'm going to keep on gassing my guy up. He's a pretty good golfer. Probably not to where he wants it, but he gets mad like if he shoots like 76. And I'm like, I wish I was shooting 76. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, Emma, let's just, let people catch up to how things have been going, man. So I would love to know how motherhood has been for you, as I'm also a new father, but I definitely want to hear how motherhood has been for you, as well as how has post-sports transition been for you.
Well, nice to meet you, Nate, via whatever you call these fancy things
Riverside.
These days. Riverside. I get the whole golf thing. I mean, I was good like a year and a half ago, and I'm just not very good anymore. But me and Patrick played in a couples thing on Friday night, and it was alternate shot, and we won.
There we go. Nice.
Killed everybody. I don't know, probably more than one.
I think we won't be invited. I don't think we're going to be invited back. That's okay. We were guests of some other couples, and I'm like, I don't know if we'll get invited back, but that's okay. It was fun. It was really fun. But
that's awesome.
I'm just now starting to play golf again, which has been really cool. Just like a different dynamic. I bring the baby. She's 10 months old. I take her out with me, and she sits in this. She'll still sit in the stroller, which is great. So I just get a couple toys, and I'm able to hit a few balls, and she just watches. I'm definitely going to be that golf parent. We have like stuffed clubs, and I go back and forth, and then I make her do it every day. So
that's awesome.
I'm working on it already. But yeah.
Oh, she's getting a phone call. Did you get a phone call?
No. Can you hear me?
It said Emma's okay. I think you're good now. It said Emma had an
Okay.
incoming call, but you're good now.
Oh, maybe I did.
Yeah,
My phone doesn't even tell me when I have missed calls.
yeah,
Um, um, yeah, so if I'm being truly honest with you, I think going from a professional athlete into motherhood and then also just normal life, like I hit them all at the same time, which was very difficult, I think.
yeah,
Now looking
yeah,
back, motherhood's starting to become easier, but those first few months, you're kind of like in la la land. Your body and your emotions are all over the place, and then you're trying to keep this little precious human alive.
yeah.
Mine slept great for like 3 months, and then she stopped sleeping, so she still doesn't sleep good. But um, yeah, it's just a lot to take on for your first child, so it's a huge blessing,
For
but
sure.
it's definitely a lot harder than I ever thought it would be. I thought I was just gonna roll with this and it was gonna be super easy because I love kids, but it's definitely been harder, but way better than ever. So yeah, that's been a wonderful blessing. But yeah, I think that going from professional athlete to just a normal life has been very difficult for me. I'm
Mm,
just now starting to feel like myself again. But I still have no idea what I'm doing with my life. And I think that I can say that a lot of people feel like that. The more I talk to like other professional athletes and just people that are trained, even people who are just trying to figure out, hey, I don't like my job. What am I going to do next? I
yeah.
think it's just a hard being in your early to mid 30s is like a midlife crisis that no
Low
one
key.
talks about.
Yeah.
It's like, wait,
Especially post sports.
yeah, it's just been very difficult because, you spend all your time. Every decision I ever made was for golf, and now
Mm,
nothing matters about golf. So
yeah.
it's been way harder than I ever expected. But I've got a good village around me, so they keep me accountable, and very thankful for friends that are doing it at the same time as me. I have several friends that retired at the same time that I did and had children. So that's been a nice little community to rely on and kind of check in with each other. I'm very thankful for that. But I'm just now feeling like myself, but I still have no idea what I want to do with my life. And I kind of need to start figuring that out. So,
Yeah.
yeah, in a roundabout way, it's been hard, but I will figure it out eventually. But if anyone else is going through a hard time, I feel you. I'm there with you,
Yeah.
praying for you as well because it's
Yeah.
hard. I used to
Yeah.
make fun of, like, not make fun of, but you see the NFL players who like go bankrupt after a year of playing, and I was like,
Yeah.
who
That's
are these
crazy.
people? Like, how does that
After a
happen?
year.
And now I'm
Yeah.
like, I get it. I get how that
Yeah.
happens because you
Yeah.
get used to living a certain lifestyle and then it just ends and you're like, wait, what do I do now? I have to budget my life.
Right.
So
Right.
it's just different. So yeah, it's been a really big whirlwind. Whatever you say,
Yeah.
whirlwind. I can't say
Whirlwind.
that
Yeah.
word. I
I
did go
like
to speech therapy when I was little, so that's a word I need to
You're
work
doing
on.
great. You're doing great.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, Emma, because I
Oh,
say the same thing. Like when obviously I played football all my life, and then you finish playing a sport, and it's like, man, I wasn't able to gain any other skills outside of football. So like, what do I do from now? And
I
then like
know.
when you want to like kind of like, but for me, like I want to do like these internships. It's like, do we really want this 34-year-old guy or this fresh hot shot out of college who's
Yes.
22? So it's like, how can I gain
Yes.
experience in something if I've never had the ability to gain experience
Exactly,
and
and then it's
stuff?
like they want experience, but they also wanna pay you like a 20-year-old, and you're like, "Wait, I'm married and have a child, like, I can't be paid that." So it just feels like a little bit of a lost you're a little lost for a
Mhm.
moment.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, it's a weird place to be in, for sure.
Very weird, very weird. But yeah, I mean, obviously, we do have a hope that we trust in the Lord to provide. But man, we hope that He also directs our steps to like what our next purpose is too. And I think
Yes.
our issue is it's like, man, we're so impatient from that. But He could be saying like, yo, you played golf for this long, you played football for this long, like take some time off, enjoy the fruits of your labor, and then He will provide. I'm hoping that's the case and stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
know He has our best interest in hand for us, whatever fulfills His will.
Mhm.
Next question I have too for you is I want to word this properly. I'm gonna try to read it off
You
great.
can just say it, you know
Yes,
me.
yeah. Do you feel as if other women in golf support women's golf? I mean, from a viewership and like updated to the game perspective. And I asked this question because outside of you, Emma, when I talk to my other friends who are in golf or play golf, and I'd be like, yo, do you see what Lauren Coggin just did on hole 17 or this? They have absolutely no idea what's going on. But there's
Yeah.
this notion that we want to see more support towards women's golf. But it's like, I don't
Mhm.
even see women in women's golf supporting women's golf. So I would love for you
Yeah.
to answer that question.
Well, I have a longer answer, of course, because I
Have it.
talk a lot,
Please
but
do it.
I
Do it.
have
Please,
this
yes.
whole thing about the PGA Tour versus the LPGA Tour fans and players. So, like, as a PGA Tour player, you get to see them like Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas. You see them at like 15 years old as amateurs going and playing the whatever RBC, whatever they
Yeah,
played in.
Harris. Yep.
And then you get to see them like through college, and then they go on Corn Ferry, then they get their car, then they get married, then they have a baby, then they're all of a sudden like 40 and they're still beating the young guys, and you become like real fans of them and of their like life. And you get
And
to
you like
see them
grew
as
up with
like
them.
senior. Yeah, you grow up with these people. You know, it's like Justin Bieber, like we know him. And it's the same thing. Like you kind of get to know these men golfers through their life. And I think as a woman golfer, I don't want to say for every tour player, but I just feel like there's this, it's really hard because we only have like 5 to 7 years if you want a family. And then,
Yes.
as
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, like we retire and then it's like, boom, have a family. And then, to be quite honest with you, only the top like 10 to 15 make enough money where they don't have to go get another job. So I think just the women in general, I think we all support each other like fully,
Yeah.
but I think we don't have as much time on our hands to really invest in it because we're either mothers, new mothers, or we just had to, like what you said, go get a job at wherever and start at the bottom. We're like, now we're grinding in a
Yeah.
job. So
Yeah.
I have several friends that, that are mothers and they're working. And so, like, how can you expect them to be able to, like, get on the LPGA.com when they're feeding their baby and going to work for 8 hours a day, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's just this, I think we all want to support it. I think it's just hard in the environment that we're in.
Mm.
Whereas the men, I'm sorry, but y'all just have it easier when it comes
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
babies and
That makes sense.
all the
That makes sense.
things.
And pro
Do you
sports, yeah.
do you
Yeah, and they
do you
make
think
so much money that they can
for
like
sure?
retire and still be part of the game and travel and
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know.
Do you think that also applies to women who are currently in golf still? Because like, so for example, like if I talk to one of my Epson Tour friends, oh, Mal Sago just won the Chevron. They're like, oh, well, I didn't even watch Chevron. It's like, why aren't you watching this? Because if we want
I
more
think they're
viewership, so
selling their things. Like same thing. Like they don't care about the LPGA, they care about the Epson tour.
well, my whole reason for saying it is like, because you ask each individual, like, do you want to see more support in women's golf? And they'll be like, yes.
Yeah.
But it's like, why aren't you supporting women's golf outside
Yeah,
of
yeah,
your
yeah.
show? That's my thing.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
But I
Yeah,
think it's one of those things, and maybe I'm asking a bad question, but I'm gonna
that's
tell
fine.
you, like,
Yeah,
when
please.
you were playing football, did you know like what was happening with so and so's plays the night of their game? Like you probably knew if they played, but you probably didn't know their stats.
We kind of almost do a little bit because like it's
Like if
just
you were
like
playing in California and somebody was playing in Baltimore, like as soon as you got off the bus, like you kind of knew.
yeah, we it's like a floor. We're like, oh shoot, like Lamar did this or like so and so like it.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah,
The
but like that's
updates,
just
yeah.
yeah, it's
Oh, it
just
is.
yeah,
Okay, okay. Yeah, I
yeah,
don't know.
and
It's not
that
like that.
yeah. And only reason why I
Yeah.
pose that question because maybe me and Nate are biased, but we love women's golf. We want to
Yeah.
see more people support women's golf,
Me too.
and I want it to be something more so like that we're walking out, not just saying because women's sports like just support women. But it's like okay, let me see you go to the Ford Championship. Let me see you go to the
Yes.
Chevron, or do something to that manner where you're actually in the field like support women's golf. And
Mhm.
that's why I'm grateful for the relationships I have on the LPGA, on the Epson Tour, the NXXT. Don't really know anybody in the Women's All Pro Tour, but like I'm so grateful for those relationships. And like anytime I get to uplift y'all or go watch that tournament or go to that tournament, like I want to go and
Yeah.
support women's golf. So that was really like my heart behind
Yeah,
asking that question.
I think people want to support. I just don't know why. I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't
Yeah, I don't
happen.
I don't know either.
What's
Yeah,
the hurdle? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah. Like I said,
And I
I
do
mean,
think
yeah,
back in the day, until this year, it wasn't on TV
yeah. We
as
went live.
much.
Yeah, went live. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. We know
Yeah,
that
so
for
it was
sure.
harder until probably this year because now we are being televised a little better now
Yeah,
than we were.
I guess just like again, maybe I'm biased just because I'm a nerd, but it's just like how you know that, Grace Kim won the Evian, man. Grace Kim won the Evian, like in the playoff. Like, how do you not know that? Like, that was a great playoff. Or like,
It was
Mike,
so good.
Maya
That was
won the
exciting.
AIG Open. Like, why? Like, because like if we talk about
Yeah.
football, we'll know like, oh, so and so just Matt Fitzpatrick just won the RBC. Oh, Sony
Do you
Open,
think
Chris Carter up.
we're built different too? Because
It could
like
be that. It could be that
my day to day, I never really think about anything other than like what I'm doing at the moment. For example, I'm like, okay, what are we gonna have for dinner? I need to do the
for sure.
laundry. Like I need to go run these errands. I never think about sports until I
I
have
think
like a downtime.
I
for the most
might
part,
be a,
girls don't really think about sports. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I
and
no,
that could be
but
the
they
answer. That can be the
do.
answer. That can be
yes,
the answer.
I do think I'm like that's why when like people are like, oh, women should support women. I'm like, I hope this doesn't make me sound like an anti-feminist or anything like that, but I think like girls need the support of men as well, and because
Yeah.
the guys are the people that are really gonna tune into sports. Guys are gonna be more like, and I hate to say this, but sports betting made viewership increase crazily. Like,
Yes.
and I
Yeah.
think like guys are going to be more likely to bet on sports and stuff like that. So I
Mhm.
think the women do need help from men, but I think
Mhm.
if women support women too, that would be also fantastic to see. So then it's just more widely available.
Agree.
Yeah.
Nate's on to something.
Yeah. So if
I'm
man,
not
you're
I'm not
listening
doing
to this,
any
man.
sports betting.
But yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I
You know? I'm
but
not
I
into
do.
that.
It does enhance your interaction with the sport when you do, because now you're
yeah,
like,
Yes.
Gene Cupshaw, I need you to make this birdie on hole 18. Hey, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
yeah.
So,
Yes.
um,
Exactly.
yeah. But I hope it
I'm gonna
that
think on that and I'll get back to you.
yeah, okay, yeah. Because I mean, I just hope that, well, at least from a man's perspective, man, like if you really want to enhance women's sports, like go out there and like go check out, a local high school women's game or college, or again, if the Ford Championship, the Epson Tours in Arizona, wherever you are, like go watch them play because they are
Yeah.
very good. I have not beat one of y'all yet. I don't think I'm
You're
close to
not
beating one.
gonna.
Yeah, I don't think
You're not
now,
gonna.
now, one of my friends now, Andrea Mendoza, who's the woman's All Pro Tour, I played it straight up, and I was close. It came down to the last two holes, and unfortunately, I got a
Nice.
triple and I lost, and I was like, bruh, I was so there. Yeah, so that was probably the only time I was like close. And I played Gina Kim very well. She gave me 7 strokes. I got a quad, and that's what separated me. But outside of that, it was
Oh,
like par,
we gotta
birdie,
get rid of
par,
those
bogey.
big numbers.
I know I'm working
Yeah.
on. Me and they went to the range yesterday, and it was a horrendous day for me. But I'm hoping at some point, man, I just see it click
Found something
because
at the end though with
I
Quintin
did
Tin,
with
dude.
Quentin
Shout out.
came in and
Yeah.
tried to help me. Yeah. Last question I got for you, Emma, before we get into the Chevron Championship, which I guess was still on the topic of the Chevron Championship. I believe you had your best finish in 2018. Did you finish
I didn't never
37?
play good there.
Oh, well, I do. I still want to know
Played my
about you.
best at the Craft Nabisco, which that's what it used to be called,
Yeah,
back in like 2015 or
then let's talk
something
about
crazy.
that. Talk about that experience, still being ready to play in a major. What is preparation like? What is your mindset like?
Yeah.
Because I've never been to the Super Bowl. The closest I got was we lost in the divisionals versus the Patriots and Tom Brady at the time. So I've never got to like the big stage. Like how is preparation for it? So I would love to know how you prepare for it.
Well, personally, I always prepared like it was any other event. And I think that if you ask most of the tour players, they would say the same thing. I
Hmm.
would say the top players, the one thing that they do differently, most of them, not all of them, because some of them don't believe in this, but a lot of them will take off the week before so they can
Nelly
go and like
Nelly just did
practice
it.
and get.
Charlie did it this week.
A
Gino
lot of
did it
them
this
did.
week. Yep.
I don't know if you noticed, but like it went way further down than normal. And this is like a huge event for us. JM Eagle is a huge event for us.
They
And
just
it's
increased
just
the
right
purse
before a
too.
major. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just right before a major. So that's why all the girls like took off.
Yeah.
So for me personally, that wasn't good for me. Now I did have to time it out. Like I always played well like the third week in a row. I didn't if it was the fourth week, I didn't play as well. So as you play on tour, like you kind of figure that out. Like, hey, I'm better that first week or I'm better that second week. And there's reasons for that, for different people. But for
Yeah.
me, it was because I would just do too much. Because I was middle of the pack always kind of when I was on tour. Like I was never top 20. A few times I was down at the bottom, but for the most part, I was like in that middle. And yeah, so for me, like I just try to stay consistent. I had to play more events than the top like 15, 20 girls did. So I couldn't just like choose every time there was a major not to
Yeah.
play because throughout the year, that's how you get into the
Right,
majors
right,
is like by playing.
right.
So anyways, for me, I just had to keep it consistent. I would say definitely, and this is kind of every week, but make sure like that your setup is good and like all the little things, you're doing all the little things correctly. Because at the end of the day, like it's all about, for me, it was always about like fairways. If I could get in the fairways and majors, like that was huge because where Chevron used to be played, the rough is always way thicker. It's way
Hmm.
tighter. So like
In
for
Palm
me
Springs, right?
personally, in Palm
Yeah.
Springs. So like if I could hit the fairways, I was good to go because I'm a good putter. But that rough is just killer, especially really all of our majors. The rough is just so thick, and because women's ball speeds, clubhead speeds not as fast. Like it's harder to get through that rough than it is for the guys. And that's why you see like Lexi and Nelly and those long hitters, they don't struggle as much out of the rough because they do have that higher ball speed. Which is for me, I wasn't one of the long hitters. So for me, being in the fairway was like very key for me. So that's kind of what I did.
Yeah, and it makes sense too. When I had my panel with Roseanne, Paularito, Gina, and Haley, Haley talked about her experience at the Women's U.S. Open. She finished T7. And I was like, man, what was the key for you to obviously finish in the top 10? She said fairways, because if I was in the
Hmm.
rough, it was hard getting out the rough. So, like, we didn't try to do anything extraordinary, but stay in the fairway. And then she said we were not attacking pins. Middle of the
Yep.
green, two putt, get out. Middle, and that I remember when I
Yep.
was talking to Lita Lilly, she told me the
Eliminate the
same thing.
mistakes.
Yeah, so yeah,
Yeah.
Stan Lita did say that. Yeah, so hitting from the
That's what it's
fairways.
all about.
Yeah, yeah, and I keep trying to do that with my game, but some way I'm always gonna leak over
Well,
to
you're
the
gonna
rough.
have you're gonna have bad shots, but it's how you recover too, right?
That's true.
That's where the short
Scrambling.
game comes in, and that's where those 100 yard and in comes from. Like if I'm in the rough behind a tree, punch out to 100 and know I can get up
Get
and
to your
down
spot.
for a par. Yeah,
Great take. Great take.
yeah.
All right, like we said, guys, another week of a major, the Chevron. Everyone keeps thinking, oh, I gotta wait till PGA Championship. No, you can watch Chevron this weekend at the Memorial Golf Park in Houston. This is probably going to be one of the longer courses that the LPGA plays on. It's about 6,811 yards, so it's probably going to favor a big hitter. We saw that come through for Gary Woodland this year and last year, and Minwoo Lee, two of the bigger hitters on the PGA Tour. But we're going to do the same thing we always do. 3 winners, 2 dark horses. Let's go one by one each. Emma, as our guest, I would love to know who will be your first pick to possibly win the Chevron.
Mine is Hannah Green. Not a surprise, I think, to anyone balling
Especially not
out
me.
this year,
Yeah.
and she hits it far and she hits it straight, and she's a
Yeah.
great putter. So, that would be my first one because I don't want y'all to take it.
I mean, it's already in my notes, and so I just said, man, she obviously didn't make the cut at Shadow Creek, but I think she was acclimating coming back stateside. But she already has
Hmm.
2 wins on the LET, and she has 1 on the LPGA. And right now, currently, as we're recording, she's T2 at JM Eagle, and she's playing
Hmm.
very, very well. Yes, yes. The other thing that's impressive, not only that she big off the tee, she's been a very good iron player this year. Green regulation percentage, she's 76.11, which is ranked 6th in putts per green regulation. She's ranked 14th, and she gets better as the tournament progresses. Round 1 scoring average,
Hmm.
she's 71, ranked 55th. She gets to round 2, she's ranked 10th. Round 3, she's ranked 5th.
Oh, I
Round
like
4, she's ranked
that.
6th. So we see she progresses and gets better as the tournament
Hmm.
goes on. So I've been raving about Hannah since the second week when she won on LPGA in Asia, and I'm like, it's
Hmm.
crazy because she was 51st in CME Tour Championship, and for some reason she's had this big turnaround and has been playing amazing. Hannah Green is also one of my picks. Yeah, absolutely. Nate
Well,
Lee.
2 years
Go
ago, if you
ahead.
remember, like when Nelly was playing so good and won like the
Yeah.
7 out
Yes.
of whatever, Hannah
Yeah.
had won 3.
Yes.
So
Yes.
like there were like 14 tournaments, and Hannah was like in the shadow, and she had already won 3 events. And so like this girl knows how to win. I think sometimes she gets in the shadow from some of the
Okay.
players because she's just kind of one of those players that doesn't. She's not gonna get in your face, you know. She's just
Right.
steady Eddie, like you said.
Yeah.
Like it's like she just climbs.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so she kind of gets in the shadow sometimes, but she's so good
She
and
is
has been her
very
whole
good.
career.
Yes. Yeah. Won the Australian Open this year as well.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes. Nate, who's your first pick, man?
Dude. Okay, so I didn't want to pick Nelly, Hannah, or Hyoju Kim. So,
We try
because
to
I was
really
like, that's
like
too
be
easy.
those guys. Yeah, it'd be too easy. So we try to like
I
really
was
be like,
because
yeah.
Hannah Green is a
Go
surefire.
off.
I think Hannah and Hyoju are, because they're like top 3 in scoring average right now, both of them.
Mm-hmm.
I think Nelly Corda's Nelly Corda's
2,
up
I
there
think.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Hannah Green's number 1 in like everything, and like Hyoju Kim is top 10 in everything strokes gained. It's crazy. They're just killing the game. So, anyways, my thing is I'm gonna go with Hiron Ryu. She's had she's had two top 5s and 4 top 10s this year. So, and she's only had like 5 starts. And she had 1 missed cut, but that was at the Aramco. I feel like that can.
That was hard course, man. Yeah.
I feel like that was.
Course is brutal.
Yeah.
I feel like that was an exceptionally hard course. Granted, I think it's going to be hard at Memorial Park as well, but she's 12th in strokes game overall, 2 in strokes game approach, and 3 strokes gained off the tee. Emma just talked about how finding fairways is going to at least bring the floor up a little bit. So I think with her approach being that well and her off the tee being really, really good too, I think even is probably the worst. Around even is going to be the worst she's going to shoot. I think she'll, and I don't think this is going to be like a super low scoring victory. So I think she'll kind of hang in there. If she shoots right around even.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right, Emma, who you got your second pick as?
I'm going to go with Jin Hee Im, and I don't think that's a shock either. She played so good last year, all year long. And then this year, she's actually leading. I don't know if she's still leading right now as we were filming. But she was. And
she's up like 2 strokes, I think.
She was 19 under this week after 3 rounds.
Crazy.
And she was ahead by like 6 at one point. I think it's getting closer, but such a good golfer. Her caddy's one of my good friends. So I kind of have, I'm kind of
a little biased.
Gotta be, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think just like if you look at her stats are just really solid. Like she's good at everything. There's nothing that she's not good at. And she's also just been playing really, really well. And I think sometimes you have to peak at the right time. And I think she's just been kind of climbing this ladder, and I think she's about to peak. So I think she's going to peak next week. I think she's a great player. And like I said, her caddy used to caddy for Hannah Green. And so he knows how to win as well. So there's a little insight for you.
Good take. Currently, she's up 3 strokes right now. Hae-Run Ryu is T3, 14 under. Hannah Green's even for today. She's still at 13 under. So plenty of golf left to go. But my second pick, which probably will be under the category as a dark horse pick, but man, the more I studied the course and I just looked at the players and statistically who I think it can be, I like Austin Kim. For the PGA, it seems like a birdie fest, but like I said, we think anywhere from even will probably win here. She's number 4 in driving distance, and this course rewards big hitters. As I said, from the PGA perspective, Gary Woodland's number 2 in longest drive, and last year, Minwoo Lee, who won, he was top 5 in longest drive as well. And she's number 6 in birdies and 9th in eagles. And if Mauseo can get her first win at the Chevron, I think Austin Kim can get her first win at the Chevron.
I like it.
So that's
we've had a lot of first-time winners at Chevron too, so that makes sense.
Actually,
it just majors in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year it was like a bunch of first.
Maya Starks.
Yeah.
Maya Starks,
Lots of first time.
Wasn't Grace Kim, wasn't that her first win too?
No, that was her second, but she hadn't won in like 3 years.
Oh,
and then I kept saying Yamashita. That's not how you say her last name though. Masha, yeah, that was her first. This was her second year on tour. It's her third year now, but last year was her second year on tour. She was rookie of the year. Yeah, okay, yeah. So
that's right.
Yeah.
Speaking of Masha, she's my next pick.
Yeah, as she should.
Emma's talking about peaking, and I think she's trending upwards. Like the reason why I picked her was because at the Aramco, she did really well. She was kind of like right around third, fourth. I think she finished 4th at the Aramco, but she's number 2 in strokes gained putting and 50 in strokes gained around the green. So I don't know if she's that great off the tee. That's kind of where I have a little caution. But then again, it's like if you can be good around the green, kind of like what Emma was saying, if you can punch out and get up and down from 100, that can really limit the mistakes. And then she can still go score because she's an amazing putter. So, and the fact that I think if we're looking
She's
at like,
trending.
yeah, the stock history, I'm like the stock is about to peak, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Miyu Yamashita.
Yeah. Great
Nice.
take. Great take. Who's your third, Emma?
Okay, well, I'm going to go on a tangent, of course, again, but I'm
Please.
going to talk about Shadow Creek for just a hot second. It is
Please.
so hard.
Hmm.
The greens are so firm, and they really set it
Yes.
up like I would say probably a little too long for us. So therefore, you're hitting like 6 irons into these like really small, narrow greens, so it's hard to stop it. The greens, you and oftentimes because of that, then you're short sided, so you have to hit these like pretty batty chip shots to get close, to get up and down. Um, and then it's pretty slopey, like the greens are hard to read.
Hmm.
It's just a hard
A
golf
lot of lip
course.
outs.
I think
Yeah,
we also
Nelly
talked
lipped out
about
a
it too,
lot.
that the shadows too made it hard to
Yes.
read. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like so hard. It's such a hard golf course. And the way they set it up, it's really hard. And then like the times that you might think like from a yardage standpoint, oh, this is a gettable par five. There's water and you have to like hit a hybrid into it, but then you're gonna be in a back bunker and like hitting towards the water on a downhill slope. Like there's
Yeah.
just lots of little quirks
Yeah,
to
like
it.
18
Was
was
it
like that.
Norcus? Was it Norcus
Yeah.
that skipped the water and got?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. But 18's the hole that's like it looks like
Okay,
it
it's
should
like
be easy
crazy.
from just a yardage standpoint, but it's not. So for that reason, I think Lauren Coughlin is obviously playing really well.
Yeah.
Because she went off.
She
She was
did.
like
She did.
cruising through that.
Yeah.
And she's obviously won several times, and
She has.
she is a ball striker.
Yeah.
And she used to be, I think she'd be okay with me saying this, like she used to be a terrible putter, and that's why she wasn't like being successful on the tour. And then she started doing these new drills with her putter that were all about like speed. And so she like takes it back so far for each distance. She like um
Oh,
trains during practice rounds, and like it's very interesting like how it works is like that's not how most people
I
putt,
love this
but it
information.
works for her.
Yeah.
And ever since she started doing that, her putting is so good now too.
Mm.
And so for that reason alone, she won a few weeks ago. She didn't play great this week, but she didn't play bad. She
Yeah.
made the cut,
Yep.
but she didn't. She was just like whatever. But I
Yeah.
think sometimes that's because you get a little bit of a letdown after a win. So I
Yeah.
think coming to Chevron, a major, she knows how to win. She wants to win a major. Like it's her. I think it's her time to shine soon, at
Yeah.
least this year. So that is why I'm picking Lauren Coughlin, because
I
like what
am.
we said, at majors you have to be a ball striker. Like it's so key.
Yeah. I'm rooting for her and the homie John Pond. I've talked to her
Yeah,
husband a few times. I know he played football at Virginia, so that's where
yeah,
our common. Yeah, yeah. So I will be super happy to see her win. And like she said in her interview, man, I'm a PGA Tour winner because she won the Grand Thornton with Andrew Novak.
yeah.
yeah.
She's so cool. You talk
Yeah.
about a girl supporting women's sport. That's the
Yeah.
girl right there. She
That's
loves
awesome.
sports, and that like yeah, she can talk sports all day long.
I love it, man.
That's
Shout out to
awesome.
Lauren, man. So my last original pick that's not a dark horse, it does counter my argument in regards to big hitters. However, because of what happened last year at the Chevron, because this person should have won, she didn't duck the chip on 18. I like Araya Jutanagard.
Oh,
Yes, I like Araya
yes.
Jutanagard.
Oh,
Yes, man. Yeah.
That was
Um,
sad.
it was so sad because I want to say I became a fan of her because when I played in the Ford Championship at Seville when you were there, I was playing with Mariah Jutanagard. So I got to really like learn and study about the Jutanagards. So when I saw Mariah there in that 5-person playoff, I'm just like, man, like you have this opportunity to seal it up in that duff. It hurt. I think me and Nate were watching, but like he was at his house and I was like, no way, that just happened.
So
And
sad.
yeah, yeah. So it was super sad. But I hope she can avenge herself this
Yes.
week, man. Absolutely, yeah. Putts per green regulation, she's 1.66, which is really good. And she's a top 65 in green and regulation, ranking out of 150 LPGA Tour pros. So if she can obviously not have PTSD, I say that respectfully, from last year, maybe she has a
Yeah.
good opportunity to recoup and win the Chevron.
The good thing is it's at a new course, so
It's
she's,
that new course, so it probably
sometimes
won't.
it doesn't really, yeah, it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, new course.
Yes, yeah.
nothing to trigger the PTSD.
Yeah, nothing,
Those are
nothing. We're in
those
Houston
are
now.
great picks. I was
Yeah.
thinking about going Jutanagar, but I didn't even think about Coughlin. But I'm like, that's a good pick. I'm gonna go. I feel like it's like my third time picking Minjee Lee, but I'm gonna go pick her again because
Nice.
her putting is so good.
She had food poisoning this week. That's why she withdrew.
I know, but no, but like that'll clear up.
That's nothing. That'll clear up.
She'll be fine by Houston. I remember I was like, she when I was about to pick her, I was like, she withdrew, and I was like, oh wait, it was food poisoning. She'll be fine. Yeah. You know, it also, you know, kind of, I don't know if she's the girl that would need a week off or anything like that, but I don't think sitting out for the rest of the weekend was going to be detrimental for her going into this week. She's a known winner. She's a major winner. She won a major last year, but dude, her putting is just so good. She hasn't statistically been that good off the tee, but I think we know she can be good off the tee. She's definitely not a short hitter. So I don't know if she's particularly far, but I don't think she's a short hitter. So
no, she's not.
Yeah.
And so she was the Annika Major Award winner last year as well.
That's right.
So you got that going into
does well the majors.
Yeah.
She's gonna be like a Max Homa at the very worst, you know.
Oh yeah, because Max Homa just keeps playing good at the Masters, but having like a terrible season, which is just not making sense at all. But I guess because Augusta's
a bad year. But.
Yeah, for sure. But it's like
I don't know. This is my philosophy on that because I thought about
Minjee or Max Homa.
Just like players who play well during majors, but they don't really play well at other events. Because I used to be like that in college golf. I always played well under the big tournaments. And that's I only won the 2 big tournaments. Like I've won a couple little ones, but like I won the big ones. And I think it's because when you're playing a really hard golf course, you have to focus on you actually have to focus on one shot at a time. And I think it creates this like mentality of like, not don't mess up, but you're eliminated when you do get in trouble. It's like, okay, eliminate the mistakes. Whereas like if you're on kind of like an easier golf course, you're like, oh, I'm going to hook this around the tree and I'm going to try to do something crazy.
Yeah.
And then you hit another tree and you make a triple, you know? So it's like, it's kind of like the harder the course, sometimes it makes you focus. It's like that next level of focus, I think.
And you stay in you're forced to stay in the moment more. Like, don't even think about,
yes.
Or you don't think about attacking the pin. You know, you're just like, just get it somewhere playable.
You know what? That makes so much sense. Obviously, I'm not to the caliber of, you know, LPGA Tour Pro or PGA Tour Pro, but like when I play my home course out here at Dove Valley, I'll shoot like 86 or something. And like Dove Valley's a tough course. Then I'll go to Silverado, which is just easy. It's only 5,900 yards. Shoot 86. I'm just like, because I'm thinking like, oh, it's easy. I can just do this. And it's like, I need to have that same mentality that I do at Dove Valley. And it's just like, that's a great point, Emma. And I need to start applying that.
Yeah, a good example. If you see a wide open fairway, you're just kind of like, I'm just gonna swing out of my shoes. Whereas
I'm gonna try to
fairway, you're like, I gotta hit it in the fairway. I gotta get it in play. So that's a good point.
Absolutely, man. Again, guys, if you're listening, please like, subscribe, rate us on all podcast streaming forums. Let's get to our dark horse. We got 2 picks, and we want to make sure we got Emma enough time to go put down her daughter. So, Emma, what is your first dark horse pick?
Okay, I think mine are both really good.
Okay, I love it. I love it.
My first one, I think, is not going to be a shock, and I actually don't think it's a dark horse because, well, it might be a dark horse for the tour, but for this specific event, it's not dark horse. Angel Yin, bomber of the golf ball, and she loves the Chevron Championship. Like has played. I think she's finished top 5 in the last 3. So the fact that she just loves this golf course, she hits it so far, and something about Houston, she just loves it.
I remember last year when we talked. Oh, go ahead, Emma.
No, sorry. And like I said, she's not really a dark horse because she finished 3rd in Singapore and then she finished well in Vegas too. So like it's not like a complete dark horse because I think she's like 16th on CME right now. But she is playing. She's not someone that you're just like, oh, they're playing so good. They've won this year. They're gonna win. They have a chance to win. So I think it's like an iffy dark horse.
I would consider her a dark horse just based off how she's been doing recently.
Yeah.
I remember we talked about this last year, Emma, and you were talking about how she got a new putter, and that kind of really projected her game to like really take off last year. That's a good take. Yeah.
She got a lab putter. She was one of those players that got a lab putter, and then she went like off. Yeah.
Nate hates lab putter.
No, I just
he hates how it looks.
Because it looks bad. I'd say I'm just too shallow, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I feel you.
That is hilarious. My dark horse pick, man. I like Chizzy Alway, man. She can go low. We saw at the Ford Championship, she went 17
Good
under,
one.
and then at the
She was
Honda event,
leading.
she went 21 under. So she has the capability of going low. So out of the Alway twins, I like Chizzy.
She was
Nice.
leading this week. Yeah, Thursday, Friday.
Hmm.
My dark horse gonna be Lottie Wode. What I saw recently, she was struggling a little bit today at the JM Eagle, but she shot 65 yesterday. She's pretty good. She's like 17, ranked 17th strokes gained total. She just struggles with putting a little bit, but it looks like the putter worked a little bit at times this week, and hopefully she carries that momentum into Houston. So,
It's
I
so
actually
hard
thought
because
about her.
yeah, I would say it's so
really,
hard because you
okay,
can never like just guess the right person, man. Because like so many first time winners at the Chevron, Nelly could wake up, but she just keeps finishing second. Because I think
does.
strokes gained putting, she's ranked like 109, which has been her downfall. So
Yeah. She's in
yeah,
happy land right now, like
yeah,
she's
she's
planning her
engaged.
wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's doing all the
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
Like it'll take
See,
her a little bit. She's always gonna be at the top and she's probably gonna win one of these events, but she's
yeah.
in
Yeah.
happy land right now.
See, I had that same kind of take with Lex. I'm like, she just got married. She just got off her honeymoon. She's gonna come here in the Ford and play well, and Lex didn't play that well.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. Well, who's your last dark horse, Emma?
My last one bombs it as well, Esther Henslight.
The
She's just
German.
someone that I find hasn't won on the LPGA yet, and I'm kind of shocked by that because she is so good. She's won on the LAT several times. She's been on the Solheim Cup several times. So and she's actually there now too. She got there a little early to practice. So just seeing how she plays her game, she hits it far. I think eventually she's gonna win one of these tournaments. So I got to keep her in my back pocket at all times because I just think she is very capable of winning on the LPGA tour.
So she's in Houston right now, practicing. What you're saying?
Hmm.
She's
Yeah.
trying she's trying the Roy McIlroy approach.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have I'm gonna drop
Private
my
jet
kid
though.
off and then I'm
Oh yeah,
gonna
yeah, 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 yeah,
fly there
yeah.
and then fly home.
Why? She's probably at a
I
hotel
like.
or Airbnb right down the street. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was crazy. Because I first, well, I mean, obviously, I guess you can practice the week before a major, but I remember Betsy, which we'll have Betsy King. I just kind of spoiled. We'll have Betsy King on later. She talked about how, like, I don't know if it was back in the day, but you couldn't go to a location the week before a major.
Yeah.
It had to be 2 weeks.
You
So
can't. Yes. You can't
did
do that.
that change this year?
No, you can go on Sunday though.
Oh, okay.
Because
The
yeah,
week.
yeah, you can go on
Okay.
Sunday.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good to
You
know.
can't go like if she didn't play. I actually think, let me take that back. She might have played Jame Eagle and missed the cut. So if you go and play and miss the cut, you can go.
That makes sense then. Okay.
Uh,
But if you take off, you can't like go
Yes,
on
that's what it
Thursday.
is. That's what it is. Yeah,
yeah.
because I was
Major
like,
League didn't
Nelly's
get
out here.
Major League didn't
Yeah,
get
she didn't
her
get food
food
poison.
She was
I just needed a reason to go down there.
I need it. She was
But the rule is
comfortably,
there.
dude. She was comfortably like gonna make the cut, and
Yeah.
was like, nah, see ya.
And they,
But the rule is there. I really don't. She probably had to ask.
yeah, that's hilarious, Nate. That's funny.
She
She didn't
probably
have
did
food
like
poison.
the
She just was.
she probably did like the elementary school, like you just like put oatmeal and be like, oh,
Yeah,
like,
just.
like, I don't want to.
You don't won't feel good. Let's just give me. What time's the flight to Houston? Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah. It's like, why do you already have a
Good
flight
point.
booked?
Oh, please, Emma.
I just remember this. Funny enough, you would think Houston and LA, like big, huge airports, but a lot of players didn't play because there was no flight to get them there on Sunday night from LA to Houston. Yeah, so that's why a lot of players ended up like getting out because they were like, well, I can't even get there. And because it's a new course, everyone wants to play on Monday.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope Hannah Green doesn't have trouble getting there then.
Doesn't matter. See, in my mind, like if you're playing good, it's golf. Like you only need to see the course like once, right? Like your caddy's gonna walk it.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what the regimens are for a tour pro, and I mean, Gina did break it down to me how they do it. I think they just go once and they scout the course, they take notes, and then get ready for pro am stuff like that. They don't go
Yeah.
there multiple times and scout the course
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
Everyone's different, but Hannah is the chillest person ever.
Yeah.
She will spend hours on the putting green getting her speed like dialed in. She puts all day every day. But she's just so chill. Like she wouldn't care. She'd be like, "Oh, I'll just go on Monday morning. Who cares?"
Yeah.
Dude,
You know?
some of those
But some
people,
players that's like, ugh.
Dude,
Yeah, I
some
gotta
people,
get
if they
there
have
Sunday night.
game, dude, if they have game, it's like they don't really. They just need to know where the pin is, and that's like all.
Yes.
I bet Scotty's like that. And granted, like if you're more familiar with the course, of course it's going to be a little
For
easier.
sure.
But
Yeah.
that's not like, oh, I can get really familiar in a week. Like that's my home course familiarity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Hannah Green she's got game. She just needs to see it and know where if it goes left or goes right. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Totally.
my hope. That's my hope. My last dark horse pick. Obviously, I'm keeping it in the family. I'll take Ake Awe as well. She hasn't shot over
Nice.
par all year. She has not shot over par all year.
Wow.
That's a good
Yeah.
stat.
Yeah.
Did
Her
she
lowest
play at
was
Shadow Creek?
she shot even. Yes. So I
Wow.
made sure to look that up. She shot
Did not
even.
shoot over par and played at Shadow Creek too.
Yeah, so yeah, that's my only thing. I think her sister is a little bit more riskier than her, but she's like the safe, steady Eddie. I think Ake can have a good opportunity to win. They both have one win each, so one of them are going to separate themselves from each other at the Chevron. So that's my second dark horse pick. I keep it in the family.
Nice.
All right, my last dark horse is going to be Grace Kim. We kind of just talked about her. I feel like this is going to be kind of a crowded at the top leaderboard. I don't think anyone's going to get a lot of distance. Granted, someone like Lauren Coughlin can come around, someone like Hannah Green, Hyoju Kim can come around and get a ton of distance, but I get the sense that it'll be a little bit more tightly packed. And Grace Kim did well at the Evian, which was a tightly packed leaderboard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She also
What a
has
comeback.
had no missed cuts this year
Mm-hmm.
and is 14th in strokes gained putting. So yeah, there's just no, she doesn't have any like crazy low rounds, but I don't think she's going to need that this week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice. That's a good one too.
Absolutely. Again, if you're listening, let us know in the comments who you think can win the Chevron. Last question I got for you before we let you go.
Yeah, let's go.
World number one, Gino Titical, not having probably the best season as we would hope for. She did win early on LPGA Asia, but kind of been finishing around like 25th, 32nd. What are your thoughts for Gino going into the Chevron?
I think Gino's a baller.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that it's kind of like one of those things like Nelly, you win us so many times. You can't keep doing that. It's
For sure.
like you're going to have a moment where it's like not everything's going great. And so I think she might be in her valley, which is crazy. Her valley is top 20s, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that there's in no time that will just come right back up. She's a great player.
She's young too, yeah.
She's so young, and she's proven that she is so good. Like at the beginning of last year, I was like, she is going to be number one. And
You
she
said
was,
that. You did
because
say that. You did say
yeah,
that.
she is just so good. So I don't think there'll be a lot of time in these 25, 30 ranges. I think that will soon just pop right back up. You're never gonna, as you know, Nate, in golf, like you can't just keep going. I mean, even Scottie Scheffler, like eventually he's gonna taper off for like a hot minute and then he'll go back up.
Yeah, he hasn't won since the American Express, and he had those lows when he was finishing like 22nd, 25th.
Yes.
Which for anybody else is a great season, as you said with Gina, but for him it's like this isn't good. And now he just finished back-to-back weeks, finished in second, which we talked about that earlier before you got on. And he kind of choked that playoff away when he missed that 6-iron. But, I think players like Scottie and Nelly kind of spoil our mindset because we have this perception of like, man, you should always be top 3 every single week. But that's not realistic at all. So,
there's
Emma,
144 events or 144 players every week. Like it is crazy. Sorry, players every week, and it's just crazy that there's some of these players. I think about even Tiger's records. I'm like, what in the world?
Crazy.
How does that happen? When you actually play in the professional golf like arena, you're like that. It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a few players that are living in la la land, but most of us are just normal old people who miss cuts and make a few and have a few good rounds and a few bad ones.
And it's crazy because someone of that caliber is probably like the best golfer I would ever see in my life. Like in playing with you, it's like this is one of the best golfers I ever played. Because Emma's shot, I mean, you missed a lot of birdies, but like you were like burning edges. I'm just like, she is not missing a green. And you missed one fairway, which was the last hole, but then you got your breakfast ball, and then you bombed it, and then you finished with birdie. So it's like, man, this is the best player I've played with and seen, in my life. So I totally understand that.
It makes me think of like there was a speech I saw like about how like it's important to be a special teamer in the NFL. It's like
That's how I can make my living.
There's 53 starters, or the 53 players that make a roster, and there's 22 starters. So 31 of you guys are going to be playing special teams probably.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to like make the roster, and I feel like that's the bulk of the PGA. And it's like I went to the football fields one time with Jeremy, and I was all like, I think Jeremy might be the best athlete I know. Because I watched him run, and it was like, oh,
whoa,
he ran different than the other guys.
Different.
You know? And it's and I feel like
I feel that.
Yeah, people will play with me and they'll be like, you're really good at golf. But I'm like, the gap between me and just someone who's marginally making cuts is so far, you know, at least in my head it is. But I'm like, they're really far from me, you know, but.
But that's why I always say with Nate, like when we go golf together and I shoot like an 88, he goes like, can't believe I shot 74. I'm like, dog, you just shot 74, bro. You know what I would do for 74? So that's why I would say like Nate is actually a good golfer. I know he had higher aspirations, but I'm like, bro, you're good at golf, bro. And it almost goes back to what that basketball player, his name was Brian Scalabrine. He's probably the worst player in the NBA, but he was playing like in a Lifetime league. He said, man, I'm closer to LeBron than you are closer to me, which is a true statement, statement. But again, Emma, thank you for coming on, taking the time, man. You've been a great friend. And
fantastic. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks. I want to come back. I loved it. It was fun.
Sure. Let's maybe KPMG or Women's US Open.
King.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get Emma Talley back on here. Yes. And tell Patrick I say hello as well.
I will. Bye, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Happy
Emma.
Chevron week.
Yes.
See you. Let's go.
Bye.
Yes. And former LPGA Tour player Emma Talley, man, did a great job. Chevron Championship, man. She has a great personality, but also, as I already kind of spoiled for us, Betsy King, Hall of Famer, will be on soon. So please like and subscribe. It's gonna be one of our longer podcast episodes, but it's a major week. We want to talk major golf. Again, everyone keeps talking about the Masters over. We got to wait for the PGA Championship. No, you don't. You have to wait 2 weeks, and the Chevron is going to be awesome. So be ready to tune in from there.
Emma was great. She's so funny.
Yeah, she loves talking golf. Like anytime, like outside of you, when it comes to like LPGA, it's like, who can I talk to about this? It's like, I know Emma knows what's going on. And she's always like, yeah, hole 16, play like this. And she just knows. And I know she's busy as a mom. Yeah, I know she's busy with as a mother and stuff, but like she kind of said when she has actual downtime, it's like, what's going on in golf? So, cause I know a lot of my friends that retired, they kind of like, I don't know what's going on anymore. I kind of just like left it behind. But like Emma's still like up there. And like when she was pregnant, she retired. She done a lot of stuff like on-field reporting and stuff for the LPGA. So she has a very good recall of the sport and everything that's going on in the LPGA. And I think she did a great job of answering that question in regards to transitioning too, because me and her had talks about that. It's a different life, man. Just trying to figure out like what's next. You know, it's probably obviously easy to do something within the sport you grew up playing, but then it's like, man, I think I gave so much to that. It's like, do I really want it? I don't know if this is her case. I know it's the case with me. It's like, do I really want to go dedicate all this time to like coaching the NFL? It's like, man, I did so much as a player. Like, that was exhausting. But yeah, I really hope whatever aspiration is, where the Lord calls her to, that he makes it clear to her so she can start walking in that. But right now, she might be in the season where she's supposed to be a great mother, and that's what she's walking out right now. So, yeah. Before Betsy gets on, Nate, I will say it's getting a little quiet for our guy, Anthony Kim. We made a statement last week, and we're not putting Anthony Kim down by any means, but we made a statement last week how Bryson could be a guy like who's just for the moment. Do we think Anthony Kim has surpassed his moment, or do we think there's still some good golf left in for him?
Dude, I mean, I wouldn't think too much of it. Like, what happened to Rory after he won the Masters? He disappeared. You know,
until the Open.
Until the Scottish Open. You know?
Yeah.
And until the Open. So it's like, you know, it's just like that huge monkey off the back moment for Anthony Kim. Like, I wonder if he's just mentally, like, you know, trying to clear his mind and trying to, you know, I don't know, enjoy the moment, relish in the moment, or has to like, figure out how to bounce back from, you know, anytime he has a measure of greatness. But I don't
Yeah.
know. What do you think about AK's performance as of late?
Well, it sucks because even after he won, he was still like a little like a guy like in contention, like a top 15. So he was like doing well. Then it kind of like really fell off. I think right before the Masters started, he finished like 53rd in the field.
Yeah.
And now I think he finished like 46th this week, which technically that's progression from the previous tournament. But the hope that we have for you is like, man, we want to see you win or contend again because I think a lot of us have, I hate to say a false hope or a hope. Let's get AK in one of these majors. But if he's not giving
Yeah.
us a reason to get in there, then like he won't get in there unless he goes and qualifies for a U.S. Open on his own. But man, we want to see you play well and at least get in the top 10 so you can get some official world golf ranking points. But as of lately, it hasn't been looking too smooth for him. But it's a long season, man. He could be a streaky player. He could be like a Hideki. Hideki could be a guy. It's like, man, Hideki's about to win by 4 strokes, and then it's like Hideki's like bottom of the field. So I have huge hopes for AK, man, because his story, his resilience to come back and win at Adelaide, which had major-like tendencies in this environment, and win against a Bryson DeChambeau and a John Rahm was very, very impressive. But again, John Rahm wins LIV, gives him 2 wins on LIV this year, tied with Bryson DeChambeau, who has a win this year, along with Elvis Smiley and Anthony Kim. And we have our guest on, Betsy King. Betsy, so happy that you're here to break down the Chevron. So, for all you people who don't know, Betsy King, Hall of Famer. She completed on the LPGA for 28 years, 34 LPGA wins, 39 total victories in her career, 6-time major winner, 3-time LPGA Player of the Year, captain team for the USA team on the Sohan Cup, and got a victory in 2007. Again, please welcome Betsy King. Betsy, this is my buddy Nate Wong. Played
Yo.
golf at the University of Nebraska, and we are thrilled to have you on as it is obviously the Chevron week. We just finished breaking down the Chevron with Emma Talley. She just got off. She had to go put her daughter to sleep. But obviously, you've won this tournament 3 times. I would love for you to discuss what your preparation and what a week looks like preparing for the Chevron, even though back then it wasn't called the Chevron. It had a totally different sponsor back then. But same major, but different title. But I would love to hear your experience with it.
Well, usually at a major, and thanks for having me on, by the way.
Absolutely.
Dude,
Shout out to
our
Frank Hunter.
pleasure.
Shout out to Frank
Looking at
Hunter.
a we're
I'm
looking at a
actually
legend
headed
right now.
in tomorrow for the past champions dinner tomorrow night, so I'm looking
Nice.
forward to that. Usually at a major tournament, it always plays a little bit harder than a normal tournament. So um, par is usually a better score than week to week. If I were to say one word to keep in mind when you're playing at a major, it's is patience because the conditions are going to be a little bit tougher, and you just have to have a lot of patience. I think that was probably one of my best attributes. 72 holes is a long time, so you just have to be patient, particularly if you don't necessarily get out to this off to the start that you wanted. We used to play out in Palm Springs at Mission
Mhm.
Hills, and
Yep.
I would say it was the closest tournament that we had to the Masters because it was on the same course every year. Fans got to know the golf course, particularly number 18, and the winners jumped in the lake by 18. And so it was a nice walk when you were leading to go up. You go right in front of the stands as you walk onto the green. It's an island green, and it was a lot of fun to play.
Yeah.
I know nowadays it's very competitive. It's hard to pick favorites for the tournament. I think Nellie's played pretty well this year. Nellie Corda, I'm sure she's one of the bigger fan favorites. I think usually a major they set it up a little bit longer too, so it favors the longer hitters,
Yeah,
particularly if they get
6,800 yards this week.
Is that what it is? So
Yeah.
par 72 or
Yeah. Yeah, par 72. Mm-hmm.
okay. So, what's interesting about this week is that it's the first time that it's being played at this golf course. So nobody has an advantage that they've played there year after year and know what it's like. And
Good take.
actually, when you play a tournament at the same course year after year, you almost get to know most of the pin placements too.
Yeah.
It's always going to be back right here, that kind of thing. Um, one of the things that I always remembered when I played practice rounds, and as a fan, if you're watching, usually the pros aren't going at the flags because they put them in the practice round. They put them places where they're not going to be in the tournament. So you're usually
Right.
trying to hit at different areas of the green. When you're playing, and go, okay, well, it looks like they could put one back right here. It'd be about 25 yards on. So I'm going to try to hit this shot 25 yards on over that right bunker. Or front pin might be front left. I'm going to try to hit one on 10 yards, just off the left side of the ground, on the left side of the green. So it's one of the things you do. And also because it's a new course this week, you'll probably see in the practice rounds people hitting more putts than normal just to get to know the breaks.
For sure.
Same thing when you play year after year, you kind of get to know the breaks on the greens as well.
Yeah.
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 It's amazing what your mind can remember.
Hmm.
And so, again, with it being a new course, you're going to have to build that memory.
Yeah. I hope that the Chevron can have sustainability and just make a home in Houston because I want to have that same, tradition like the Masters. Like, man, we know we're gonna get an A-man's corner. We know we're gonna get a hole 18. We know we're gonna go on the par 5 15. Like, I want that same thing for the LPGA. Let's see, I do want you to recap your first Chevron win, 1987, against Hall of Fame peer Patty Sheehan. Like, what was that like, battling off against her in a playoff too? That is too,
Right,
right?
right.
Yes.
I was going to say the two things I remember about that event is I won it during the course of play on the 16th hole, which was a pretty good par four. And I hit my second shot in the right hand bunker, and then I hold it from the bunker for birdie. And, jumped into the air when I made the shot, obviously at a key time. And then we went into a playoff, and we started on 15. And it was 15 was a very tight par four. Depending where they had the tee, you didn't necessarily hit driver off the tee because there were bunkers down the left and then trees on the right that actually hang out over the fairway a little bit. That you can be in the right side of the fairway and still be blocked a little bit by the trees. So anyway, in the playoff I hit a poor drive to the right and just had to pitch it out to the fairway. And I remember I had 90 yards to the pin for my third shot, and I knocked it on maybe about 12 feet. And Patty, hit a good drive down the middle, knocked it on into about 20 feet. And I think she probably thought, well, I probably have this one. And
Yeah.
I ended up making the 12-footer for par, and she two putted for par. So we went on to 16, and I think she bogeyed 16. I think she three putted, and I made par and ended up winning the tournament. So it kind of was a bit of a turnaround. If I'd been Patty, I would think I'd have it won too. And the fact that I still had 90 yards to the flag for my
Yeah.
third shot on a par four.
It's interesting when we had Emma on, she talked about that same thing. When you're playing in majors and let's say you so happen to get in trouble, she's like, man, we just want to punch out and get to an approachable distance, like a 90 to 100 yards. You just talked about that, got on, and obviously got you, a major, which again, that was your first one. And then you went on to win two more from there. But my co-host Nate has some questions for you. When he looked you up, he was super excited. He was super excited.
Yes, you are such a legend, and thanks so much for coming on. I mean, you're a legend on and off the course too. I want to say I looked into some of the stuff you do, like philanthropically too. But so you went into playoff in 1987. Who was like someone? Maybe it's Patty. Is that you're like, I do not want to face this girl in the playoff because you played with other legends as well in the game. You kind of caught Annika on the back half of your career, and you played with Nancy Lopez. Was there anyone that you're like, I do not want to play against anybody? And was that Patty?
Or was it more like nobody wants to play against Betsy King?
Yeah, I mean, it could be.
Probably, in my prime, which was from about 84 to 95 is when I did most of my winning. Up in early 2000s, I think was my last win. But there were probably 8 to 10 players that actually are now all in the Hall of Fame. So it was fun to be out there in that era. There wasn't really one person that stood above everybody. It kind of was whoever has the hot week or the hot year ends up being number one on the money list. But I came on tour right at the same time as Nancy Lopez, but she actually did it took me about 6.5 years to get my first win, and she
Yeah.
started winning right away. So
Mm.
she had done a lot of her winning before I had my first win. Um, the interesting thing is with Patty, I had a couple times where there were turnarounds like that. What I just mentioned, another time once in a tournament in Phoenix, she had a two-shot lead going into the last hole, and we were paired together, and I ended up making about a 30-footer for birdie, and she pulled her second shot just left of the green and didn't get it up and down. We went into a playoff again, and this would have been before I won Dinah Shore. I think it was in '85, and I ended up eagling the first playoff hole. So
Wow.
it was pretty much a turnaround. And Beth Daniel, we went to college together. She was a year behind me. A couple times I went down the
Furman.
stretch with Beth. Um, so it's kind of fun. I mean, I kind of knew everybody that I was playing against, and you kind of go out and give it your best shot, and whatever happens, happens. Really.
That was a really competitive time for the ladies golf. So
You know, it's funny before you go because I'm really good friends with Tracy Hansen, and she talks about like during this time, like I had to see a lot like Meg Madden, Beth Daniels, Betsy King, Nancy. Look, like she was like, man, it was hard to win because you had all these Hall of Famers, and probably at the time, I didn't know y'all Hall of Famers, but she's like to go in and week out against this talented crew. Like she said, it was tough. It was tough. So
Yeah,
for you to also mention that, yeah,
yeah, it's interesting because we were all pretty competitive. It was unbelievable how competitive everybody was, and most of us were athletes in other sports. At that
right.
time, if you wanted to play professionally, you basically had two options: golf or tennis. And so there were a lot of people that were athletic and had done well in other sports, and they channeled themselves into golf because that was the only your only option. I mean, I think about Caitlin Clark. If she didn't have the basketball to do, she probably would have tried to play golf
She
because
loves
yeah,
golf.
she
she
loves
messed with
golf,
that. Yeah.
and she's 6 feet tall, 6'1", and if she had a chance to work on it a lot, she might have been out on the LPGA tour.
There you go.
But yeah.
Yeah.
But I was gonna ask, like, that was actually something I wrote down. Like, it took you a while to get to your first win and stuff like that. Like, what happened? Like, when did it click? And then when it did click, were you like, I expect to win every week, or like,
Well, it
um,
is interesting because before I won, I thought, gosh, I'm going to have to play the best golf of my life for 4 days in a row. And I won in '84 in Hawaii. I was surprised by how many mistakes you can make and still win because over 4 days nobody has it all 4 days. There's usually one day that you're not hitting the ball as well as the others, and or maybe you're not putting quite as well, and it's just your ability to recover from your mistakes and stay in there. And once I won that first time, I realized what it took. I won two more times that year, ended up number one on the money list. So it kind of did open the floodgates once I knew what it took to win.
wow, what's like, what clicked? Was it just like being more patient, as you were saying earlier, or like have a little more
Your
grace because
confidence
you're like,
increase. Like, yeah,
I could have,
I'm
I
curious
can
too.
make mistakes.
I
Another
think
thing too
I think
is,
it was a combination of things. I moved out. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, and I wintered in Florida a couple of years, and then I met a pro named Ed Oldfield, and I started taking lessons from him in 1980, and that's how I got out to the Valley in Arizona, and I won a tournament in Japan after about a year working with Ed, and so I felt like I was making some good changes with my golf swing, and he also helped me a lot with my putting. I really became a pretty good putter, and you don't win a lot of tournaments without putting well. You just, even if you hit every green in regulation, if you can't putt, you can't be competitive. So really, the top players, if you notice, they all can putt well. And it was just a combination of things. It was seeing Ed, taking lessons from Ed. It was the confidence that comes from knowing what it takes to win. The better I played, the more confident I became. And and I think you learn to relax a little bit too. I have to say, before I won, I remembered saying to myself, "Well, I'm going to be the best non-winner that's ever been out here.
Uh, yeah.
I'm going to win the
Yes.
most money without ever winning a tournament." So I'm glad that didn't come to pass, but
Yeah, for sure.
I did think about that at one point.
That's funny because that's the route that Tommy Fleetwood was almost going down till he won the tour championship. So it's
Yeah.
good for him. And he didn't obviously be the most have the most non-wins or most money to be a non-winner. Yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
and I forgot to mention too my faith.
For
I
sure.
became a Christian in January of 1980, and I became part of the LPGA Fellowship. You know, I always used to say it's not a good thing if I'm in church on Sunday when I'm on tour because that means I've missed a cut and I'm not going to
Right.
make any money.
Yeah.
So we would have a Bible study earlier in the week. It just really helped me to have the faith in Jesus and know that my worth as a person wasn't based on what I did on the golf course. You know, it comes
Amen.
from God loves me unconditionally and He loves me the same whether I shoot 68 or 88. And that just really helped me to be freer on the course. Also, I learned not to compare myself with other players, but to just be the best that I can be with the talent that God's given me, whatever that is. And that's all that He calls each of us to, and whatever walk of life we're in, wherever we are, just to do the best that we can. And we've all been endowed with certain talents, and just to do the best with those talents.
Absolutely. I believe it says in Colossians 3:23, whatever you do, work wholeheartedly as for the Lord, not for man, right?
Definitely.
I would love to know who are some of the women that you fellowshiped with, because like I talk to a lot of my friends in the LPGA now. You know, they talk about Roseanne, Gina Kim, Haley Cooper, all of them fellowshipping together to make sure that they're obviously pushing each other towards Christ, but there's also a way they can empathize with one another when things on the course aren't going well. So, who are some other tour pros that you fellowship with on the LPGA tour?
Well, there was an older player named Merle Breer that kind of took me under her wing. She won the Open
Nice.
in about 1962 or something, and very strong Christian. Um, Chris Johnson, who was living in Tucson for a long time. We actually started meeting together to pray for the Christians on tour outside of
Nice.
fellowship, and we did that one year. And that year, everyone that won a major that year was a Christian.
Hey
So
man, it's
it was
awesome.
kind of interesting how that worked out.
Yeah.
Alison Nicholas, who's from England, she was quite active in the fellowship. Trying to think who. Oh, Barb Thomas Whitehead.
Bob
Um,
Moxon, was he part of that too?
oh yeah, Barb Moxon. She was,
Yep.
but she was on tour, I guess, for about 8 to 10 years and then retired. But definitely, Barb has strong faith. Yeah, so there were quite a few. I mean, we used to get anywhere from 20 to 45 at our fellowship group, and
That's awesome.
we'd have a small group outside of that would
Hmm.
bring two, from within the fellowship, but it would be a
Yeah.
smaller group so we could share more. We
Yeah.
had some great speakers come in. I got to hear Anne Graham Lotz a couple times. She spoke at the U.S. Open. I met Elizabeth Elliott, who's was well known in the Christian world. She was a missionary in Ecuador. Her husband and four of the missionaries were killed. And,
Wow.
she has an incredible story. I got to meet Elizabeth twice and actually went to her home. And she's written a lot of Christian books. She's since passed away. Um, I think it was just to have the community that came from the fellowship, as well as just I kind of learned about my faith outside of traditional church because I wasn't in church on Sundays.
Mm.
There was a gentleman named Bill Lewis who started the Fellowship of Christian Athletes Golf
Okay.
Ministry, and
Nice.
he used to bring Christian books out on tour as well that for free, and we could go and pick up whatever we wanted to read. So I read a lot of Christian books that Captain Bill, he was a retired naval captain, that he brought out. So it was a the competition is what brought me to the Lord. I had a hard time handling the downs of the golf of
Wow.
playing on the
Yeah.
tour. When you're paid entirely based on your performance. So
Mm.
Yeah.
I had a hard time handling the tough days. A funny story was I went to this retreat at the start of the year in 1980. It was called Tee Off, and that's where I committed my life to Christ. It was in January, before the week before our first event on tour that year. And so the next week, I was paired with Laura Baugh, who, when she was originally early on in her career, she was the glamour girl of the tour. She had commercials in
Mm.
Japan, and she also her son is on the PGA Tour now, Eric Cole, and
Okay. Oh yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's her son.
Wow.
But anyway, Laura, I was paired with her in the first tournament that year, a week after I committed my life to Christ, and I made it 10 on a par five, the
Oh
only 10
wow.
I ever made in my career. And I don't
Well,
think I
yeah.
ever even made a nine. So, um, but I shot 76. But anyway, after the round, I was in the locker room and I heard Laura talking in another row and talking to one of the other players. And she goes, I played with Betsy King today and she made a 10 on a hole and she didn't even get upset.
Yeah.
So she
Amen.
just had a different kind of peace,
Yeah.
that transcended that 10 a little bit.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. That's
Amen.
cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I've said this on the podcast before. When Paul's in prison and talks about Philippians 4:11, he says, "Not that I'm in need, but in whatever situation, I've learned to be content." And I have too many of those moments on the golf course because I shoot 10 every other hole. But it's good to see that you had that peace, amongst you where you're able to display your faith through the good and the bad, and it's not selective based on the conditions of your golf game.
Right, right.
Amazing to hear. Nate, I'm not sure if you had another question for Betsy.
I was just gonna say, like, so, um, yeah, you talked a little about with your faith and everything, but like with your rookie, when was your rookie year in the '70s or?
Yeah, 70. Well, at that time they used to have a qualifying school in the summer, so I played 9 events in 1977, and then my first full year on tour was in 1978.
Oh, okay. What would you like tell your younger self, like maybe when you were a rookie or like maybe when you're at, were you a Furman?
Yes, I went to
Furman.
Furman University,
Uh,
Greenville, South Carolina.
like, was there, what would you tell yourself now in what you know now, whether it's about golf or about life or a combination of the two?
Yeah, I think a combination. Number one is sometimes you get a little bit intense out there on the course, and it never works against you to be nice to everybody. A couple times maybe I wasn't. I was a little bit too intense when I was playing. Golf is strange that way because the other sports, like nobody's on the football field with you, right? In between plays, they're not coming up and asking for your autograph or whatever.
Right.
So
True. Yep.
and golf is the one sport where the fans are, they can get right close to you. So sometimes I, if I didn't sign an autograph, then I would feel guilty. So it was like wasted energy to. I actually worked with a sports psychologist a little bit, and he said, "Well, have your caddy walk with you to the first tee," and because sometimes people would come up to you just when you're getting ready to tee off, and I'd say, "I'm sorry, I can't," and then you'd feel guilty. So he said, "Well, have your caddy say she'll get you after the round," and that kind of took it off my
That's good.
shoulders. So really, one of the challenges of the tour isn't just the golf; it's all the things that you have to do with it. You have to do media appearances, you have to go to meetings. You're trying to work out to stay in shape, and
Yeah.
the tour sometimes asks you to make appearances, and there are just other things that you have to do that sometimes can make the days long. Like I know a couple times I'd go, gosh, I've had this morning tea time. I haven't been back to my room, since 7:30 this morning, and now it's nine
Mm.
o'clock at night. And
Yeah.
I just had a meeting after I played. I served on the LPGA board, and sometimes we'd have a few marathon meetings, but
Mm.
it's learning to manage your time. I think is one of the issues that you have to find out what works for you, both in how much you practice and how you handle your time.
When Roseanne did the panel for me at Whirlwind, she talked about that. Like when she first got on tour, she was so hot, but she was also bouncing school. She had all these meetings where she's like, man, I don't even have time to like sit down and do this because like I'll win and then I'll do a practice round or something. Then I got to go to this meeting, then I got to stay for school. By the time I look up, it's like, dang, it's 9:30, and then it's like pro-am tomorrow. So yeah, I definitely understand that when you're saying, because it made me think about that same exact thought that Rose said. But now she's done with school, so she said she has a little bit more free time, which she's definitely enjoying. I think her caddy Will told me when she was done with school and like she finished like a practice round, she was like, "What do I do with this time?" Like, And he was like, "Go see a movie or something, or go read a book." And it was just so weird because she didn't know
I
what to
can't
do.
imagine trying to go to school while you're
Oh
playing on
man,
the tour. And the other
yeah,
thing is, it's not just school; it's Stanford.
She's at
yeah,
Stanford. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
not, any easy place to be studying. That would be really hard. I would think to
yeah.
do that.
Right. One question I have for you, Betsy, is what are some things you want to see improve in women's golf, as well as what are some things you hope to see continue to prove within women's golf?
That
That
was the
makes sense.
question I had too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, well, it's interesting because it's just been the last year or two where I feel as though I haven't been as involved in the tour. I played at a time where the players really were actively involved in selling the tour. Um,
hmm
Even though we did have a board and we had a staff, but we had when I was elected to the board, there were 6 players on the board and 5 independent directors. So we actually controlled the direction of the tour if we voted as a block, the 6 players. And we went through a period where we fired a commissioner, and so we literally were looking at some of the contracts that we were signing as a tour. Um, so I, so in one hand, because of that experience, I felt like I really had ownership of the tour. Today, the players I think rely on the employees of the LPGA to run the tour, and they're not as actively involved in getting sponsorships, etc. But like I even had a tournament. I got an LPGA event off the ground in my own hometown that ran for 9 years, and um, they just don't have that, which is good. They don't have to have that in depth of knowledge and spending time selling the tour. But I would like to obviously see the tour continue to grow. I think what's been interesting in this market is the fact that there's more other professional sports for women now, that there's
Yeah.
more competition for the dollar. I mean, you have the WNBA that's certainly come to the forefront in the last
yeah.
couple of years.
CBA had a new
You know,
CBA that helped out.
Caitlin Clark effect has been
hmm
unbelievable for women's basketball. The 2 people that I can tie it to probably on our tour was when Nancy Lopez came out, and I came out on tour the exact same time as Nancy. She was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. We started getting more sponsorship dollars, and we definitely had more visibility because of Nancy. And then when Michelle Wie came out,
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
that
right.
was a big one because of competing against the men. I mean, she almost made the cut at the Hawaiian Open when she was,
Right.
15 years old. It was
15, yeah.
unbelievable. And, she had the kind of game where she could hit it really far.
Yeah.
And so they kind of transcended the game. They were people that didn't necessarily follow women's golf knew about them because they were on outlets that were outside of golf. And I think we need to get back to that. I think like Nellie's a great representative.
For
Phil,
sure.
that's what I've
I
been saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's kind of obviously with the story of her family being in tennis and her sister being, world class
Jessica.
player
Also
too.
really good.
It's a
Yeah.
very unusual story, and the parents, we haven't had a story like that before. I wish she would play a little more. They don't seem to play as much as when we played, but they are playing more internationally. I mean, I would play 30, 32 events a year,
Wow. Yeah,
and I look at,
What a grind.
Nellie will probably play around 20.
yeah.
And
'Cause she doesn't do the Asian swing.
pardon, yeah, what?
She doesn't do the Asian swing. Nelly doesn't.
Yeah, yeah, she doesn't, and they have 2 Asian swings now.
Yeah.
And I admit that's like for me when we only had we had sometimes 2 weeks in Japan, and then I did Korea a few years. One when I first was on tour, we did the Colgate Far East. I went to Manila one year. I went to not Singapore, Kuala Lumpur another year. But we might have had. Then you went over to Europe, so you might have had 6 events outside the U.S. Now it's probably 15 to
Yeah.
18. So there are a lot more, and it's reflected in the membership too. It's definitely more diverse, and there's so many players from outside the United States. Where we had a few from outside the United States, but the the vast majority were still U.S. players.
Yeah. Dang, that's a great answer. I do want to transition to your post-playing career. I know Golf for Africa is now ceased, right? But
Right.
you've done a lot, since transition out of sports. And there are a lot of other athletes that would love to make an impact, beyond the game. So when you started this foundation, what was the heart behind it, and what was and where did you want to see it get to? And obviously, we've seen it get to great things.
Well, one of the great things about our fellowship group was when we started doing service projects on the tour. Like I participated in about 10 habitat builds that we did as part of our Christian fellowship group on tour. And one year we built a house here in Guadalupe, Arizona. We worked on it, different groups of players and caddies and LPGA staff for over 2 weeks. And we raised the money for the house, and it was neat. On the check it said the house the pros built. So um,
That's
so
cool.
anyway, I got service in my mind because of doing all this on the tour. And one year, the lady that was leading our fellowship group, her name's Chris Stevens, and she saw a show about World Vision. And so she wanted to raise money for World Vision. And so we adopted a village in Tanzania called Ruvu Ramidi, and we raised $250,000 in about a year to do development in this area in Tanzania. And so I was going to go there, and then 9/11 happened. It was back in 2001. And so they canceled all their international trips. So I didn't make it to Africa that year. But my last full year on tour was 2005. And I ended up going back to Africa in 2006 with a group of women that World Vision invited to Africa to see the effect of poverty and the AIDS pandemic, particularly
Mm,
on women and children. And so I learned so much on that trip, and I came back wanting to make a difference. So I started Golf for Africa with a friend, and I said, golfers are charitable. Let's see if we can raise some money within the golf community to make a difference. And we were around for about 19 years. I made during the Golf for Africa, I made 26 trips to Africa. I just did my 27th with my church last September, but we ended up giving World Vision $20 million, and we did a number of different projects, mostly in Rwanda and Zambia, were the two biggest countries. We funded project in nine different African countries, but
wow.
the majority were in Zambia and in Rwanda. And we started concentrating on water um, about halfway through. And just in what we did with water, we funded wells in over 500 villages and mechanized systems, which are bigger systems like what we would have here with taps on the line, almost 100 mechanized systems, and those are at healthcare clinics and schools where you're benefiting thousands of people. On average, one well was serving about 300 people in a rural
Wow.
community in Africa. We would go over and take donors with us in the hopes that they would then want to support us even more. And World Vision was our implementing partner on the ground. I've learned that instead of reinventing the wheel, use the people that already know what they're doing. And World Vision is as old as the LPGA. They're in close to 100 countries around the world, and
Sheesh.
so it made it easy for us to come alongside World Vision. And we raised the money by hosting golf events, also women's luncheons. We did some golf clinics, and I've had all kinds of players play with Lorena Ochoa, and um, I'm trying to think some of the others.
Legend.
Jeff Daniel, Meg Mallon, Pat
Yeah.
Bradley. Um,
Yeah.
we did with the guys a little bit too. Bubba Watson played one, and I
Yeah.
think
Okay.
one.
Nice.
We've had a lot of different players support us. Emma Talley, who you spoke to,
Shout out
she
to my dog,
supported some of
Amy
us.
Olsen.
Amy Olson was a big supporter of
Yeah,
us.
That's
that's my
Yeah,
dog too. I love
yeah,
Amy.
she's
yeah.
something. You talk about genuine Christian faith.
Oh man, I've had so many girls on the Epson tour credit her for like stewarding their faith. and
Yeah.
discipling them. And I know Amy's the real deal. Yeah.
Yeah, she carried a Golf for Africa bag and
Yep.
wore the visor, and we didn't pay her anything. All we did was
Just cause.
buy the bag. And
Right.
when she lost the U.S. Open,
US Open. Yeah.
almost won, she was wearing a Golf for Africa beanie. Well, we started getting
Yeah.
calls that people wanted that Golf for Africa beanie.
Wow.
Anyway, she's
Advertising works. Yeah.
yeah, it does. No, it really it changed me. I mean, I learned a lot, and I'm always inspired when I go to Africa, the spirit of the people. And in fact, I was talking to one of our donors yesterday that funded a well, a gentleman named Bob Nelson. He's older, and he went with us to Africa. And in the village where he had funded the well, one of the headmen of the village, which is kind of like the mayor, he literally got down on his hands and knees and to thank Bob. And he goes, to have someone, a man, get down on their hands and knees in front of me to thank me, that's just the heart of the people. They really appreciate what you're doing, and it changes their lives. I mean, it's hard to imagine not having access to clean water or
For
sanitation.
sure.
And when you
For
see
Saves
sure.
their
something
lives. Yeah.
as basic as that, it just is life changing.
Yeah. That's great, man. And it's awesome to hear all those things and the impact you made post playing career. Like as a former NFL player, I'm always trying to figure like, man, how can I make an impact outside the jersey as well as I did with the jersey on? I have two more questions for you. The first one, well, one faith oriented, the other one golf oriented. The first faith portion I have for you is, man, who is Jesus to you, and why do you hope that someone comes to know Christ?
I think for me, obviously, Jesus for me, as I said, I think we all come to like a tipping point, and for some people, it might be a really hard low in their life. They might have had problems, addiction or things like that. But for others, it's just handling the day to day of life. And for me, the crisis point was for golf, which I'm thankful didn't I grew up in the church, but it's a bigger understanding. It's a personal day to day relationship with Jesus. And, Jesus came to earth. He showed us how to live, but more importantly, he's the way to God. He died for my sin and for all of our sin. And people, I think they think if you ask someone today, they'd say, "Yeah, I'm kind of a good person. I can probably work my way to heaven, or my good outweighs my bad." And they just don't understand that God's standard is perfection. And it says in Romans 3:23 that we all fall short of the glory of God. And when I look around the world today and the problems, and we've gotten pretty far away from our faith, I think, in the United States. Um, and of course there are different religions around the world, and it's really affecting us. I think God probably cries when he sees what's going on. But for me personally, it just turned my life around to know that God loves me. Jesus died for my sin. I have heaven awaiting me, once I die. And because of those things, I can make it through every day. And I think sometimes that's all people need to know is that God loves you, God forgives you once you commit your life to Christ. Now, he wants you to grow in your faith and to be more like him each day, but just to have the assurance that even when I fall short and don't do everything that he calls me to do, that he forgives me and I'm still going to heaven. And that's a better promise than anything else in the world.
Hey man, I always say, man, we can't out sin the Lord's grace, but that doesn't give us a reason to continue to sin, to abuse his grace. So
Yeah.
I think that's a great answer, Betsy. And the last golf question I have for you. So LPGA Legends Tour. I have a lot of friends that play on there. Like I said, Tracy Hansen plays on there. Crystal Parker, who's my friend, she plays on there. Is there a way to have, I guess, hopefully that the LPGA Legend can grow to, I wouldn't say compete with the PGA Champions Tour, but there's still a lot of talented female golfers who are not on the LPGA more that want to continue to play. Uh, what are some ways maybe you have a hope or your understanding to grow the LPGA Legends, or how can we just get more eyes to the LPGA Legends Tour?
Well, I think it's a challenge, definitely, because as I mentioned, there are just so many professional sports these days, and
Yeah.
everything's so segmented.
Yeah.
I played a little bit on the Legends when I played on the regular tour till I was 50. I did play a little bit on the Legends, but now I'm 70 and I'm not competitive on the Legends. They do have the LPGA Championship. I wish the LPGA would be a little bit more supportive and for that tournament. They have it, but the purse hasn't gone up, since they've had it, and I'm not sure if it will. The USGA, has come out with the Women's Senior Open, and I played in that one. And Pat Bradley, she for 10 years tried to get the USGA to put on a Senior Women's Open. They finally did it. It was almost 30 years after the first men's Senior Open that they finally had a US Senior Open for the women. Um, so I think I played in the first one. I was already about 64, 65, and so it made it kind of tough. But I think it's going to be a challenge, a real challenge to do that. But I think if they could just try to get 4 or 5 good events, and get that going. There's been some good stories out there. Lita Lindley, who
Yes.
won the Senior Open. I played
Yes.
with Lita a couple of weeks ago, and she still plays pretty well. She's probably 54 now, and she loves playing in the few events that they have. But really, the only two that are a fairly good purse are the LPGA Championship and the U.S. Senior Open. So they had a couple other sponsors that have gone away, so it has been a bit of a challenge.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping, something, can come through for the LPGA Legends Tour because, like I said, I have a lot of friends that still play on there. They still love the grind, the game of golf. And with there being a PGA Champions Tour, I would hope that the counterpart can get something to like at least host 4 or 5 events. I know there's a really good one in Utah that Christy Kerr won last year, and then there's one that's held at the Kierland out here in Arizona that I went to as well. But Betsy, man, we really appreciate your time. This has been awesome.
Thank you.
Again, Frank, if you're listening to this, thank you for putting me in contact with Betsy. And Betsy, I hope you have a safe travels to Houston. And man, just look forward to fellowshipping with you in the future. And I'm happy I got a sister in Christ with you.
Thank you. Thanks so much, guys, for having me on. God bless you.
Absolutely. See
Our
you, Betsy.
pleasure.
All right, Betsy King, LPGA Hall of Famer, man. That was great. I know this is one of our longer podcasts, but I hope you enjoyed it. Chevron Championship is going to be a very, very good tournament. If you can't wait for the PGA Championship and you want major golf, check out the Chevron Championship coming on this weekend. Should definitely be a good one. But man, we appreciate you guys listening to this episode of Golf and Gospel Podcast. Legends on here, man. You don't have to listen to me and Nate's voice if you don't like us. But man, please again, like, subscribe, comment. Again, I had a few of y'all tried to text me during Masters Week. Like, who you got to win the Masters? No, I just sent you the link. Because we need we need the viewership. We need the likes and everything as we continue to endure in this venture. But we see you guys next week to recap the Chevron Championship and more things with golf. Peace.